And like that, we're back with another Unpacked presented to you by the To Be Fair Show and
the G Shit Podcast.
All right, y'all see the title? We got a full panel, and yeah, we're about to have some fun. We're gonna talk a little bit about elitism in Black culture, a little bit about the Boule, a little bit about populism, the talented 10th. But before we get too far, y'all see the panel. Make sure I bring up their names. Yeah, we got a fun episode. We'll start at the top. G, talk to him.
What's good, everybody? It's G, host of the G Shit Podcast, where we focus on family, friends, finances, freedom, and our future, and fuck everything else. Check it out wherever you get your podcast. Search GSHPOD. Hi.
All right, and beside him, y'all see him. It is Charlotte's own, the mayor. Hey, Black, what's going on?
Yo, what's up, everybody, man? Happy Wednesday. And I'm happy to be here for as long as I can and enjoy some good, stimulating conversation.
Yep. FBA's own David Walker, CassiusTrey, FBA Trey, chat warrior. I promise you, if y'all could only see the fun conversations that we have. Trey, talk to him, brother.
What's good? What's good? What's up, everybody in the chat? Shout out to the regulars. Looking forward to engaging with y'all. FBA Trey, do my best to be an advocate for our lineage and, be a person who, understands what it means to be on code. Keep me honest in the chat.
Gotcha. And last but not least, 1/3 of the To Be Fair Show, the host of the To Be Fair Show, Johnny J Rock 989. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, family, man? Glad to be back. Just looking forward to another great conversation. Y'all tap in on the chat, get active with us, and let's get it.
All right, Johnny, you might have to move your headphones down. There we go.
We locked and loaded. Y'all hear me now?
Yeah. All right. So with that, we do have a couple interesting icebreakers lined up. But it started off, there has been some news recently that has just broke from a young budding NBA star, our guy Anthony Edwards. As y'all see, the post reads, Anthony Edwards requests to pay $1 million up front in child support to cover all 18 years of payments. That's $5,000 a month. He does not want contact with the child. Fellas, what is our thoughts on this? I'll throw to A Black first. I think that you was kind of saying that you've been following this for a little bit.
Yeah. So the funny thing about this is it's not even true.
Damn, it's not.
It's not true. A Twitter user created the graphic, created the story, and went viral and created this conversation. His people ain't made no comment on it because it's not true. But the baby mama has come out and said she would pay anybody to find the court documents to find the proof. None of this has happened. None of the nothing's been settled, and it sounded like a crazy story, and because he makes so much money, it was believable. So the conversation around it was interesting, but the actual source is untrue. So let's talk as if it was true. Okay. He's had two similar instances with this girl and the chick Jorday. Jorday is the one he gave $100,000 to have an abortion and said, send the video of you taking the pills. She didn't have the abortion. She kept the money. But this is before the current chick that we all speaking on. So she's 37. He's I think he's 22 or 23.
He's fairly young. He can't be over 24.
I think when they were actually talking, he was even younger, like 19 and 20 or something like that. So she knows this, and she already has a baby by the rapper Lil Baby. So she already has an agenda with So I listened to the radio this morning. They was talking about it. People was calling, giving their opinion. People have been talking about it on Facebook. And it's funny to me because if this was a 37-year-old man who got, let's say, Naomi Osaka, I'm trying to think of a woman's athlete who has as much money or close to Anthony Edwards, but say it's Naomi Osaka at 20 years old. He's already impregnated, let's say, Angel Reese or somebody. And what would the narrative be? Because it's all this thing about, he's supposed to be responsible and all of this stuff. Yeah, it's true, but he a YN, and he a YN with nearly $200 million. So it's like, why do women want equality, but they don't want equal accountability and stuff? Because we know if this was reversed, a man would be called a creep, a predator, trying to trap her, trying to snuff this young girl's future out. But when it's reversed, this 22-year-old boy that he still is, he's a man child. Apparently he's supposed to have all this wisdom that a young girl is not. Because when a young girl is young, she's being groomed, she's being manipulated. Why you 37 with this 22-year-old girl? All these things, predatory narratives. But now it's reversed, and he's supposed to be the responsible one, and not this 37-year-old woman who's already done this to a young rapper, and this is her agenda, is getting these young guys pregnant. Now, would she sleep with a 22-year-old man that worked at Amazon who made $17 an hour? And if an Amazon driver got her pregnant, would she keep the baby? I think we know the answer to that. So it's like, I don't see why the women are being so daft. Like, they don't know that what's the game was. At the Olympics, when was the Olympics? In Paris, posting in the stands, posting that she's supporting him. He didn't invite her there. She's there like trying to be on the scene, because people was like, well, he gave you the money. Ain't that enough? These chicks want more than the money. It's a lot of tricks out here that's not famous. They want the stout, the clout, the status, the courtside seat. They want to be known as this superstar's girl. They want the clout too. The money's not enough. But I just think the double standard here is very glaring, because if this was a 37-year-old man who got a young woman pregnant in the prime of her career, they'd be calling him everything under the book. But Anthony Edwards is supposed to be responsible. He should have used the condom. He know how much. He don't know. He's a young YN who's been privileged since high school because he's been a star. They don't have to develop certain faculties of their mind. And when it's reversed, they say a woman mind don't develop till she's 25 and 27. I'm just tired of these chicks like not having accountability too, especially an old chick, an OG chick. Like, she's supposed to know better. He wanted to come up, and now she's getting embarrassed,
Man.
And I guess just to go where you're at, I think probably two separate conversations should be had. But I guess starting off, I do think that's a good spot to start highlighting that, because I do think like there's a sentiment that a lot of times the double standard exists and it's unfavorable for men. In my opinion, I think that bad behavior should be called out regardless. In my opinion, this is an example of a woman grooming. I don't look at it too much different than what's the light-skinned girl that they had the Charlotte Hornet dude?
Yeah.
Drea too. But yeah, DJ Washington. But yeah,
she like her like Allah now. She with Kevin Gates. Old girl.
Brittany Renner.
Renner. That's her name, Brittany Renner. But yeah, like in my opinion, I really don't look at it, especially when you look at the power dynamics. Her already having been inside the game, obviously with the whole little baby, like it's a lick. Is an older woman preying on an athlete. You hear them talk about it all the time, where if you get too old, you can always find a young athlete. And that's what, like, you do see these women kind of run that play over and over. And it is exploitative. And I do look at it as grooming. I don't really look at it as less than when a man does it, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, but we supposed to have more restraint, I guess. Like,
No, I don't think either way.
yeah.
To me, I just think it's bad either way.
Yeah, I agree. But I should have knew that shit was fake though, Black, because this nigga signed 5 years like 250 million.
Oh yeah, it had to be a little higher.
He got off on the low. Like
it had to be
$1 million for 18 years ain't shit for a nigga like Anthony Edwards. If you talk about real child support, so
I looked at it, I was like, 5,000 a month seemed kind of low.
What a lawyer! That's what I was like. I thought this nigga must got like crazy lawyer to prove that he got preyed on or something, but should have knew it was fake just off the number alone. Because real talk, like. If you willing to pay that much up front, you could just put that in an account and then pay that yearly amount off of interest, that the money sitting somewhere. You don't even have to get the money away to pay that off over time. So yeah, so I should have knew it was fake with that number, but I do think, like, to A Black point, it is a fair call out because it's a double standard. And I don't think it's a double standard that should exist, in my opinion. And yeah, these hoes, man, they get away with it, man. I don't know what it says. Like, they not only to get away with it, they get second, third runs at it too. You know what I'm saying? So they unstoppable, man. They really stay winning. I don't know what to say. Yeah, it says YG dropped that song about him getting raped, which is kind of crazy. Or yeah, he said it like in the opening joint, like the opening bar. I got raped. It was wild. So interesting time. You know, maybe that tide or that shit will turn over time. But honestly, I just don't think society has much sympathy or empathy for young men when it comes to sex. I just don't think that as a society we're gonna get that look as a whole.
I get it, but I guess my only pushback would be, wouldn't it be on us to have the conversation, to talk about how it is grooming, how like it is negative, instead of just highlighting the fact that
that's why YG dropped that song, I guess.
Well, and I think that's to your point, Quint. I think that's exactly what we're seeing, a lot more of in this generation. People are calling it out quick, as soon as it happens, and excuse me, stuff like that. It does lead to more awareness. And I think another big thing to look at is like, a lot of times men are seen as like, when it comes to like sexual deviance and violence, as like the monsters, but like it always start from like usually a younger age, and it's like YG said, it's usually something where like you are with the older woman way before you need to be, way before you're like mature enough for, and it leads to a lot of problems that we see in a lot of guys when they get older. Just like with anything else, that kind of abuse at a young age is going to it's going to kind of translate over your whole life. And just to be able to be awareness, I think that's a very important thing. And you're starting to see it a lot more in our generation, which I think is only going to be fruitful. Moving on.
Trey,
man, we're the people that always say it's nobody's never. They always when it seems like they only have an issue with this happening to men when it's outside their community. And I'd like to see more backlash from the people that are that would have been first in that line. And stuff like this happens all the time. Just this kind of abusive behavior that men got to deal with. Where, like, shout out to Young Scooter, he just died. I mean, because it seems like they only say that because they want us to have to abuse from themselves. Like, because when we get abused by for real, like when we get abused by other people, we're the women that would have been like, oh, you should have, that's what you get for your preference. They don't never say that, but they quick to say that whenever it's somebody outside the race. And if she wasn't black, we would have seen that at the same time, and then like shout RIP Young Scooter, he just got falsely accused. That was an abusive situation he was going through. Shout out to Xavier Worthy. He just was falsely accused, finally got vindicated. And then Dr. Kubar Vasquez, aka Dr. Umar, shout out to Black Alpha Network. But that's one of the few things I can agree with Dr. Kubar is the family court system needs a lot of work, man, because child support, a high percentage of that goes to taxes, so the cities are getting rich off of it. These athletes are targets because they're funding like all these city workers, everything, all these programs. And I know it happens to athletes, but there are regular guys that it happens to too. Like, it's a very exploitive and abusive system, and there's a lack of accountability that I don't know what is the best thing to do about it, but it's really out of control, man.
That was my main issue. Was like it do happen a lot of times, a lot of various ways people deal with it. But with this chick, what pissed me off was she put out this whole like feminist manifesto, like how women and mothers are victims, and men are not stepping up being fought. I'm like, excuse my French, bitch, please. Like, you knew what time you was on, what you was doing. You already done it before. You wasn't looking for no father and no family and expecting no 22-year-old man to be no family. You was looking for the check. Yeah, he this man, it was his nonchalantness towards the whole thing. Him really, really not caring. Get the abortion. No, I want nothing to do with you. Her ego got involved, and she wanted to go put this smear campaign on this man. And she realizing, don't nobody care. The thing about America, even if you're a black man in some cases, as long as you winning, people go forget about all the other stuff. Like the NBA, they're not talking about none of this stuff with him.
Wait, is this? Let me look. Let me fact check Steve real quick. Keep going. I'm my bad, Black.
The NBA is a very historically messy ass league when it come to like niggas sleeping with coaches' wives, players' wives, like side babies, side families, like
but if you
NBA is notorious for having like crazy like stories like this that don't be like the topic of public conversation. It just be like stuff you happen to know if you like follow the league.
Yeah, the pundits, I'm looking at his win last night and the media around him. Like, if you winning and winning good and you good for a brand, they don't really care. As long as you ain't really out here beating a woman up or nothing crazy.
I mean, look at AI, right? I mean, shit, AI was going crazy back in the day. They was like, shit, whatever.
But
AI was beating somebody?
No, I didn't say he was beating, but I'm just saying he was just living his life.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure he popped a bunch.
Like,
wait,
he was that
kids,
dude.
I don't think Iverson got a kid.
Iverson got more than one kid.
Oh, he do for real?
I think he got a couple.
He got a family.
He got a wife. I'm surprised I ain't heard it's a little Iverson.
Man. Iverson was going crazy, but that's one thing Stephen A be talking about all the time was like, do you know what I could have said about Allen Iverson back in the day? Like, this nigga be talking about how I could have let it fly, but I didn't. Like, but niggas be knowing these niggas like, in the league, like it be well known when they be messing with the hoes.
And Stephen A, he be getting hoes too. Stephen A ain't start to step in that area.
Stephen, he be trying to low key let it be known.
I don't think Stephen A don't be getting it in Miami and LA. He got him too.
Yeah, he do.
So all right, so just for clarity purposes, before we move on, obviously, what's Shorty name?
That's a good question. Who cares?
All right. So we gonna call her Lady X. Lady X. Do we all agree that this is what abhorrent behavior, clearly grooming, and if a man did it, it would have been looked at 10 times worse?
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. So we all inside agreement with that. To move it to the other side of the conversation really quickly. I looked up, I fact checked Steve. He said 5 babies. He don't have 5, but he does have 3 kids from 3 different women.
In 2 years?
He's 23. So I don't know how many years that is. Maybe that's in 3 years. Is there like what side Y in rehab supposed to look like with this? Like, clearly this is also very detrimental behavior for him in his pockets and just being able to keep his wealth. At the rate he's going, like, as soon as he get out the league, he ain't gonna really have any money.
You better do
NBA. If we can look that up,
he's gonna be on that Dwight Howard.
Adrian Peterson. But if we can look that up, why can't these women? they know that too, but they
Look
see
what
a
up.
mark. They see a check.
Oh no, what? And that's what's like. I think it's clear that women, especially older women, they understand the game. They get them. They doing exact like the whole. It's just the red pill for women. They try and get them when they're young and impressionable. Trap them real quick off the good box. Do a trick that they ain't seen yet. Yeah, cook a crazy meal, trap off the box, and now I'm set for 18 years. If I do that within like a 6-year span, I fuck around and have 24 free years of living and not have to worry about shit. Like their game plan is clear as day, in my opinion. I imagine we do want to advocate for niggas not to get caught inside this whirlwind, right?
Man, if Nick Cannon can afford it, if Nick Cannon can afford it, Anthony Edwards can.
But I think Nick Cannon get women that's on the program. like they down with it. Like they be like on the program.
Yeah, Nick Cannon's got more of the like I'm the sensei here, whereas Anthony Edwards clearly got. You know what I'm saying? Like he clearly like he allowed himself to get chose there very sloppily. You know what I'm saying? He's got to do, he's got to do better.
And that's probably the problem. He allowed himself to get chose. He didn't actually choose.
That's true.
That's just something niggas got to learn, man.
Nick Cannon putting on a master class.
Yeah.
For real.
Most niggas honestly don't figure that out till after 25. So I mean, you do got to give, like I said, he's still a young dude, even though he got the wealth, the fame, the resources. Mentally wise, he's still got some maturing to do.
And like I say, he even younger because he's not going through the life trajectory of the average young man. So he got a lot of moments in his life that's being catered to him where he don't really have to mentally grow. He just has to ball, so he's slow progressing in that mental stage.
Now I get it. All I'm saying is like I definitely get the first one. I had a little baby in college. The second one, you be like, all right, but when you get to the third one though, like
with the third,
and every single one, and every single one of them come with a price tag. You got to start looking around like these motherfuckers think I'm sweet.
Hey, like was out here slanging that thing in college. Young, he got game.
But hey, I think it goes back to like even something we were talking about last Sunday as far as like marriage and like nuclear families being pushed and like what our culture glorifies as far as like the single parent culture and like single life. I think doing that leads to a lot of like reckless behaviors, a lot of promiscuity, people just messing around, and then you see the results of like said behavior. So I think it kind of goes down to this like what we believe in and what we glorify as far as like on a cultural level or just a mainstream level. I won't say cultural, but on a mainstream level, what we see is like the glorification of like sexual freedom and stuff, and that's where that's going to lead you. As far as like if you glorify family, if you glorify getting a wife, you're not, even if you have a bunch of kids, it's all going to be under the same roof, and that's how you build wealth. But if you just glorify just being single and you don't need a man, I don't need a wife, you're gonna lead to broken situations like this over and over. And so somebody got to break the cycle at some point.
I agree that, and that's actually the mature answer to everything that we're saying. For sure. I guess Google did say he does. I guess he
alleged.
Is this the alleged fourth though?
Not confirmed.
So, but would this be the alleged fourth?
I think this one is confirmed.
Oh, this one is confirmed. Okay.
I think this is the one we talking about is one of the three confirmed. I think he's got.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can't. But yeah. Nonetheless, I want to see y'all my YNs keep their bread and have really healthy, strong careers and be able to enjoy retirement. So I do advocate for the young boys to stay weary of these women that's out here trying to exploit you. These women that are clearly grooming you for what you have. Just be weary, especially if she's a little bit older. Johnny, tell them about them cougars.
Oh yeah, I mean, we reaching that age, they ain't even cougars no more. They just our age, but
Yeah, your age is still
just peers.
Yeah, these 304s are really winning out here, though, man. Because if all you can do is if the man has to do all this to, be established and be rich, and all she has to do is have a baby by him, and she's set for life, that's the easiest profession in the world. And then if it's not really too crazy of a stigma behind it, where she winning, then I don't know what it's gonna need like a massive overhaul. I thought they were like Trump and they were talking about something with child support, but I think that was just a meme.
Oh, I thought you were saying Trump was going to do an overhaul in the hole.
Hey, Trump on his third wife too now. So
that was fake too. That child support thing.
Trump got a broken family.
That was yeah. A Black know what I'm talking about, but yeah, Trump got. Elon Musk got a lot of made a lot of millionaires.
Elon got like 13 kids, and nobody talk about that.
Yeah. Well, they kind of do. They do.
He is the richest man in the world, so I'll probably have about 80 kids myself too if I was him.
Yeah.
They stay quiet too.
Yeah, they got the money.
They stay pretty quiet.
They paid off.
Like, keep them all like.
Well, I think that come with power too. Like when you're the richest man in the world, there's a certain muscle you can flex.
Yeah, you can throw a girl 20 million and it won't hurt you.
Yeah. All right. So nonetheless, a lot of Twitter, TikTok. I guess he broke some TikTok records or something like that. There has been a lot of talk about Cory Booker. Cory Booker went viral yesterday. I'll push play on it. We can kind of talk about it. Again, we'll start with the left. Is this something? Is it nothing? Talk to me, fellas.
Chuck Schumer is the only time in my life I can tell you no. I just want to tell you a question. Do you know you have just broken the record? Do you know how proud this caucus is of you? Do you know how proud America is of you?
All right, so nonetheless, that was him breaking the quote-unquote filibuster longest speech record in Congress, I believe, or the Senate. Is this something? Is it nothing? Talk to me, fellas.
It's nothing. Yeah, I think it's ironic that we say that all Democrats do is talk, and then here come a Democrat talking for 25 hours. So I'm like, all right, what's the significance? How is this going to help us? Did he say anything that is going to really change anything? And I ain't watched the whole 25 hours. I try to watch some long clips, and at the time, I felt like he was about to cry. But it made me think about, once again, how fake the Democrats are. I remember, I don't know, he was running, I don't know if he was in the primaries for something. He was running for something, and they was calling him soft, calling him spineless, talking about the money he took from APAC, talking about like his record, and basically like, saying that he was dating that girl, what's her name, Zoe, some actress chick, Rosaldo, but saying that she was
Rosario Dawson.
She was a beard for him.
I give him credit for that. I mean, absolutely.
But after the campaign, it was gone. They were saying that he was using her as like a beard, basically, or whatever.
What's a beard again?
A beard is what a gay guy uses a woman to look straight.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just like, Cory Booker, that's y'all king now? Like, when did he become? It just keeps showing the desperation of Democrats and the performativeness, the symbolicness, but nothing comes from it. Like, okay, he broke Strom Thurmond record for talking long. Like, why is that a big deal? Like, nobody's been able to explain it to me yet. He's repeating a bunch of stuff that's been circulating. Oh, he's attacking President Trump. Who cares, bro? Like, can y'all do something of significance to really flex y'all muscles? Like, this is more talking, more hallelujah, kumbaya. Oh, he said that. This whole clapbackism that is in Democratic Party with the Jasmine and all clapback. He said this. He said, okay, bet. But what is it gonna mean? Like, I don't know.
So I agree with a lot of what you say, but where I would disagree is that I agree that with your points about it being a bunch of talking ultimately doesn't mean anything. But I think for people who identify as Democrats, it is something. It is something that they will use to propel their quote unquote, like, you know, fight as they get ready for the next set of elections here. I think the Democratic Party as a whole has just had nothing but egg on its face. I feel like over the last year, you know, with, you know, basically, you know, with since Biden announced he was running, it's just been a bunch of egg on the face for Democrats. And I think what this does is it because, you know, they tried to get Booker kind of like toward the front of the party years ago, but like you said, it just didn't work. So I wouldn't say that like that this is like something that like they've been trying to pump him or pause or push him in that party for a while. And I think he just took advantage of an opportunity to do something that is very much like a gesture. But for his base in the Democratic audience, I think they see it as like finally somebody's doing quote unquote something to go against what Trump is doing. And maybe they use that as momentum moving forward. But largely I agree with what you're saying. I don't personally see the value.
And I guess what I'll add, as I throw to Johnny, these are the two opposing perspectives that I've heard. One, that he was literally just talking, so he didn't do this with a proposed term. He wasn't stopping legislation. There wasn't like really a purpose behind it outside of its symbolism, its performative nature. The other side that I did hear was, right now, because of the Democrats and where they are at, they're completely powerless, and only thing that they can do would be performative. And this was supposed to kind of stoke good faith for the public, and the fact that they've been getting hit with the whole y'all just gonna let them do it, y'all quiet, XYZ. Johnny.
No, you hit what I was gonna say as far as like it wasn't a filibuster. Like, it was just a speech. Like he wasn't trying to block anything. It wasn't no, like last time it did, the guy was trying to hold up a bill. Versus there's no bill, there's nothing that you can do. In this case, you're just you're just speaking to break the record. And it like it gives you a moment. It sounds good, it feels good, but as far as like, it's not something we can like hang your head on. It ain't something that's really gonna move the needle. It's not, it's not actionable, and so it doesn't move the needle. And so that's why I don't think it's too much of anything, because 2 weeks from now, a month from now, 3 months from now, we're not gonna remember it. It's not gonna be in the news cycle no more. So it ain't, it can't be something if we're not gonna remember
it. Trey.
Man, I would have been cool with him making the stand, but like, can we get it for something that is a tangible for foundational Black Americans? Can he not do a filibuster for anti-Black hate crime bill, or for reparations, or something about the white supremacists and law enforcement, or something that's actually important? There's so many things he could do to galvanize the base, but instead he goes out to, like John said, not even like proposing legislation or anything like that. It's just more performing the symbolism. And it's interesting that the Democrats, they keep pushing out their Black shills to do their dirty work, especially when it comes to just like foolishness. Like a couple weeks ago, they had Al Green like waving his cane in the State House, yelling, getting kicked out. And then they got Jasmine Crockett leading like weird TikTok dances, like waving the bundles around, talking all sassy. And now we got Cory Booker, mad zesty out there crying. So it's like that's what they see black people as, like sassy black woman, zesty black man, or the elderly civil rights generation.
Is he zesty? I never like I.
I just know he cries a lot, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that why they said? Because did he cry? Did he cry when he was up there for real?
He was about to. He go cry in the car.
25 hours. You gotta pull everything out in 25 hours. You gotta make them laugh. You gotta make them cry. Like it's 25 hours, bro. That is a long time to.
Like he ain't pissed or nothing. Man, no bathroom breaks or nothing.
But it's still a long time to talk.
But they ain't no excuse. They ain't no excuse to be zesty. Like if you want to be passionate, like you know how some people can get some people are passionate, their voice get deeper. And some people, when they're passionate, their voice get higher. When he was getting passionate, he was getting like up there in range. Man, it's kind of soft and feminine.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. We talk about Allen Iverson. One thing about him, he gonna cry. Allen Iverson a crier too, boy.
Yeah, I don't think.
Hey, look, but he also a warrior when it's time to play, man.
I seen killer shed tears, bro. I ain't gonna knock a nigga for shedding tears.
It's not crying, bro. I think if you don't have any bass in your voice and you got like a whiny tone, like that's not masculine, bro.
That don't mean it's gay.
Whatever. All right,
fellas. Let's move on to the.
It's just masculine.
Let's move on to the right. All right, so. Again, Trump has made headlines multiple times this week. This has been one of the bigger ones. Again, yesterday. Oh no, was it today? Today was the day of liberation. I want to say he dropped the tariffs on niggas. But early in the week, he had been on a run. Well, it wasn't really a run. He's kind of made his way through all the political channels of his talk of a third term. Is this something? Is this nothing?
It's nothing.
You gotta run again. They love the job we do. Most importantly, they love the job we do. I don't want to talk about a third term now because no matter how you look at it, we got a long time to go. We have a long time. We have almost 4 years to go, and that's a long time. But despite that, so many people are saying you gotta run again. They love the job we do. Most importantly, they love the job we do. So many people are saying you've got to run again. They love.
He further went on, and I guess an interviewer did ask him directly about him running again, and he gave. I think that he hinted at there's a couple different ways. I think he said the words. There's a couple different ways. One of it would be through who's his vice president again?
Vance.
JD Vance winning and conceding power. And it was a couple. Well, he didn't explicitly say the other ones. So I did think that this was just like a Trumpism for a second. But then like I was doing my typical rounds of looking at some left-wing media and some right-wing media. And a couple, I guess, right-wing media sources that I typically go to and be like, this is decent information. They were starting to have like a serious conversation about it and how it could make sense, how he could do it. And it became interesting to me just seeing that it's now becoming something that people are opening the door to and possibly considering. Is Trump and him nudging at the idea of a possible third term? Is this something? Is this nothing? What's your thoughts?
I think I don't think it's much of something, but I do think it's a little something because, and not because of Trump, because not because of Trump, but just to put it out there in the Pandora, like you say, that people may even take it serious, and I think that's the part that is scary. Is that like who knows what it could lead to, but just that you're just putting it out there in the ether. I think that's something because now people. Trump ain't gonna figure this out on his own, but he put it out there, and that means somebody could figure it out for him, or the next person could. And I think that could ruin our democracy and the thing that we set up here in America, which I think is pretty fire. I will give them that. Like, I think the way we have it set up with the power is good. And if you can alter that, who knows what that could lead to. And it could even lead to another civil war. I'm not saying he'd keep the power, but who knows what it would look like? Who knows like how much damage the people would take for him trying to do something like that, or just even saying it, honestly.
G, talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's an amendment in the Constitution. So, like you said, it would have to be some crazy loophole of a rule for him to like be president again. It wouldn't be him running for president again, I guess is the main point of it. So look, if like anything else in America, like, is it something like, I kind of agree with Johnny. Like, I don't think it's a big thing, because I honestly don't think it will happen. But didn't think Trump would be president in the first place, and nigga became president. And so
what are your thoughts of,
and he's a shrewd business dude too. So it's like, if there is a figure shrewd enough and with a team of lawyers like who are like mafia like enough to understand the rules and say, hey, this is the play to make it work, I would not be surprised if something that you mentioned in terms of like through one of these avenues, they actually like go for it. But
I just figured that they'll do like the wartime clause, in which like all you have to do is decide what's like the lower level of which you can call like an actual war. That's what I would imagine. When he said it, that's what I figured, but I don't know. Hey, Black, talk to us, brother. Something, nothing.
I think it's nothing, man. I feel like it's Trump being arrogant. I'm so great, I should do a third term type ish, but to me, it's distraction and once again, the left overreacting with stuff. Over reporting unnecessary stuff that they shouldn't be giving attention to. It's like the man's not getting no third term, bro. Like, he already old as dirt, and like JD Vance, even if he got president, is not conceding it to let Trump back in, like, because he barely liked the dude anyway. On the real, he playing his position, but it's BS, man. Like, they just keep over reporting on stuff, fear mongering, and like, oh, he said this week. Oh, a third term. Like, we should be scared. Like, bruh, it's not gonna be no third term. This dude. Like, can we move on? It's almost like some stuff they can't give attention to. Move on. I already said that. Let's focus on back to educating the people on what's important, instead of kind of running with these wild narratives and that's like fear based. Like, it's not happening, man. Never. It's not gonna be no third term.
Okay.
they licking him before that happened. Trust.
FBA Trey, talk to us, brother. Something, nothing.
Man, I think we would be doing ourselves a serious disservice if we underestimate Trump. I think that's been his greatest strength, is being underestimated. Like when he was sitting in that correspondence dinner getting roasted by Obama, and then he said he was going to run for president. Nobody thought that we would be here we are today. And then when he got impeached and all the charge and everything, and then we thought he would get elected. So it's like, I know that he has a play for getting in a third term. And I know you're right, Black. Like, he is old as dirt, so anything can happen. But he is fully coherent. It's like it's not like old compared to like Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden. Like, he's
still pretty old. I don't know.
I'm talking about as far as sharpness and coherence, not like age. Like, he knows what's going on. He's not like.
But that's just like relative to Biden. Like,
no, just generally speaking, he doesn't seem like he's showing any signs of dementia. I know people my age that aren't as quick as him, and then they're not like special needs or nothing.
Okay.
Like, you don't think he's pretty sharp? You don't think Trump's pretty sharp? And it's like when he's witty comebacks, like
he's
people
witty.
with dementia
I think he's witty. Yeah, he's funny. He's witty and funny, but like sharp. Like I don't hear him speak, and I think like, wow, this nigga's intelligent. Like, or this nigga is profound. Oh, this like I don't hear him speak, and I hear like this articulate, intelligent like line of thoughts coming out. When I hear Trump speak, actually, this nigga says something and then repeats it as if like he can't believe what he just says. So he was like, we're going to do some very good things. We're going to do some very good things. That's all he does. He says the same thing twice and then he'll say it a third time again. Like, so like, look, is he okay for an old nigga? Sure. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, I think Trump is like super sharp of a politician because I've heard way more articulate speakers, way more intelligent sounding speakers. Like he's just an old, funny, witty dude. That's about the credit I give him.
You compare him.
I never said he was super sharp. I never said that.
You just said he was super sharp.
I said he was sharp and he was coherent. He was very witty. And now you're saying I never said he was the most articulate, most like. I didn't say he was
you
like
just
a
said he was sharp. You just said he was sharp.
Yeah, you just said he was super sharp, and you started comparing him to people that were like top intellectuals. I'm not saying he's all that. I'm just saying, as far as showing signs of dementia, he seems to be there. And I think if he's witty, that's a good indication that he is there, coherent. Like he's coherent. That's all I'm saying.
He coherent, but sharp is like a stretch. Like if you compare him to Joe Biden, who's clearly showing early signs of dementia, yeah. But somebody his own age, Cornel West or somebody, will eat him alive. Even Bernie Sanders might be pushing 90. He'll still eat him alive. So like I won't get sharp.
I wouldn't say he's sharp. He just
what about as far as like if there were a back and forth, you don't think Trump would maybe a better public speaker, might have a better finger on the pulse of the crowd and be able to you don't think he's more of a showman?
He don't say nothing, and then when he's backed up, he just lies.
He's not a good salesman.
Most people are dumb enough to like believe the lie because it sounds good. But like G said, he ain't saying nothing profound for real.
Like he understands just because he'll win because he's gonna make a funnier joke, gonna say something like that's like gonna play to the crowd. Like I said, he's a charming, witty white dude. Like that's like his that's his thing. Like he's shrewd, but like he ain't sharp though. Like that's all I'm saying.
I got you. Well, some people like me may interpret quick-wittedness and being a good public speaker and being shrewd as being signs that you're not on the verge of dementia, but you may disagree. But all I'm saying is that I know he's old as dirt, but I don't think it's too far-fetched for him to have like he doesn't seem like he's
also wouldn't call him a good public speaker either. He just like what makes him a good public speaker to you?
When he talks to the crowd, he knows like what to say. He knows how to say it. His delivery is like you said that he repeats things, but I think if you listen to like stuff from the 50s and the way they used to talk, Trump's from a different era. So I think he kind of talks like a 50s era showman. Like, you know what I mean?
Like WWE wrestler. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's like the 80s and the 90s type. Like, you know what I mean? He kind of, it's more of an outdated form of communication, but I think it's more of a classic form of communication. But at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. Like, he's been able to win the popular vote and then get the most for the first time, like the Republicans' history or something like that. Or like he's gotten trending up based on his way to win people over through his communication. So I mean, I'm not saying he's the best speaker in the world, but he may be the best public speaker right now in public office that people might just want to go listen to because they just think he's got an interesting delivery versus like Cory Booker doing a 25 marathon versus Trump doing a 25 marathon. There would have been some sound bites we would have taken from Trump's marathon and people would have thought that was kind of funny. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to. I know y'all. I feel like y'all fighting me on like just saying.
Nah, I get that. I get that. You know, he's more entertainment.
He's talking about charisma.
Giving a nigga credit for being coherent is like not like. I just don't want to give a nigga credit for being coherent. Like you should be coherent if you are in the office of president. Like
Yeah, you're right. The only reason I brought it up is you were talking about him being too old, and usually when you're when you're up there in age, you lose like Biden a lot of your coherence. That's the only reason I brought it up, Chief.
Yeah,
But that's not why he would get a third term.
I don't think Obama and them underestimated him. I think they underestimated how stupid the country really was and how much they ain't really cared. I think they care more about being entertained, and I think that's what Trump does. He entertains. It don't really matter the truth. It don't matter the facts. Can I say something entertaining? Can I say something that touches your feelings? You know, that resonates with your ethos. It don't even got to be logical. It's like he want to touch the emotion of people. You know.
Yeah. And that's I think in politics that goes a long way. Clearly, right? And I also think that. Oh, my bad. So I think that y'all aren't gonna believe my theory here, but I see Trump going after all the low hanging fruit first, and then he's going to next after he gets them out of the way, he's going to go after some bigger targets because he has a hit list, man. Like they came for him and missed, and then Trump remembers all that. That's why he has his mugshot in the Oval Office. So I think his end game is he hasn't forgot about the previous election, and then after he gets enough, like right now, it'd be politically to bring up the last election right now that cost him so much popularity that if Trump is that good at understanding people, he knows not to bring that up now, but that doesn't mean he's forgotten it. I think he's just trying to build up enough clout and public support to take that on. And if he's able to prove that the last election had any type of funny business where he should have won, I think, I'm not saying constitutionally that will allow him a third term, but I think to the populace, like just regular people watching it, if they believe that the last election was stolen, he finds evidence to support that, and the majority, that's the popular opinion, I think that would be helpful for him building a case to the people that he could have a third term, especially if the Democrats, if he's able to prove they did any funny business, that's going to kill them. Like they might not be able to recover from that. So then who's going to really stop him from being able to get that third term? I think that's the long game. I mean, that's not like, I know that's out there, but
yeah, I just don't think that specifically would, I don't know, would move the needle when it comes down to. I also don't think that if they was going to find some level of election interference, whatever, I just believe that they have found it by now. But nonetheless, I understand that you believe that will give him momentum if it does, and he's going to take down the smaller targets, and then he's going to move to the big fish. And when he moves from the big fish, niggas is going to be scared, and with that, he'll use that as leverage to force his way into a third term. That's pretty much what you're saying, correct?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But with that said, I guess this is a good time to segue ourselves into the actual conversation. So let's start out really, really broad, and then we'll kind of start siloing into populism, the talented 10th, the Boule, the Black elite. Who should be in charge of planning and deciding the plan for Black progress?
Grassroots. Who else but the grassroots?
It need to be it gotta be a collective thing. You gotta have the grassroots, but you gotta have the elite and the people with money to fund things and got the connections. You gotta have the people that's in the community that's in touch, and you gotta have the people that's in politics. It gotta be a collective effort. Are you gonna have division? If it's just grassroots, you're gonna have division with the elites. If you got just the elites, you're gonna have division with the hood and people not feeling included. So it need to be somebody from each area that are doing well in those areas to come together. Like, how can we combine our resources, our knowledge, to progress us? It can't be one, unless it's one person that is doing all of those things that everybody trusts. But we see that don't work. We can't have a leader that everybody agrees on. So it has to be a collective. It got to be somebody from each side that come together.
Yo, A-Black, if unity means combining with sellouts and bootlegs, does that unity have any value?
Well, you assuming that the unity is including sellouts and bootlegs, and I'm not saying that it does. Like, that exists.
It has to if you bring the elites.
That exists in every faction, whether it's the elites or the middle class or the FBAs or the Pan-Africanists. Everybody has sellouts and bad fruit in their group. The whole thing is, the whole point of what I'm saying, it has to be the best of every group that comes together. That's not a sellout. That's not a bootleg. That's proven, has a proven resume of not being such, and then they come together and how can we progress us further? You got the people, you've been in the community with the grassroots, you got the funding, you've been making money and creating industry, you got the politics, you've been moving your way up the political ladder, you got the church and the spiritual side, so it has to be a combined effort, and it's not including no sellouts or nobody like that. It's vetting them out, and it's having people that's been proven in their area, in their field, and them coming together. But you can't exclude nobody, because we need everybody. You need somebody with money.
I don't know why we need everybody. Like, because you know how that is kind of risky, though, right? If you have an open door policy,
It's not. I'm not saying it's an open door. You can still be select with your unity. You can still be select with who you join up with. It's not anybody can join. I'm telling you, it's people that have been proven in each area. Whether you pull a guy from the FBA, you pull a guy from the Boule, you pull a guy from the hood, you pulling people that have been proven to be progressing their areas, and we're going to combine and progress all together, because we're not a monolith. So you got to have each side to progress the whole thing.
So correct me if I'm wrong. This is almost like one might say like a revision to the Talented 10th. We're not necessarily like the most talented of people inside the educational space, but the best talent from the select spaces within the Black community. Is that a fair assessment, or is that all?
No, I think the Talented 10th was kind of exclusionary, but
that's why I said like a revision of it, not literally.
In the context of its time, it was created. I got the concept, because there was only a small part of us that had access to certain opportunities, and their whole thing was, we have the education, we're going to college, we're doing these things, we have to be the small 10% that help lift the rest of us up. But now we're in a time where everybody they might not utilize it, but they have a lot of access to a lot of the same opportunities. And you have people that are specifically grassroots. They don't want to do social media. They don't want to be in front of the TV. They're in the streets every week. You got people that are great on with the media and on camera and stuff. You got people that have respect from the hood, that have respect from the upper class. It's about kind of finding people that are talented in their own regard, but it's not just a top 10% or nothing. It's like
it's not the elite of just one section, but the most talented people of a diverse
group. Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, FBA Trey, I'll let you kind of round it off before we go to G and Johnny. Y'all was having a back and forth.
I think that sounds a little complicated. I get what you're saying ideally, but it seems like whatever group is getting the most momentum, we want them to continue whatever they're doing and build that momentum versus trying to get them to slow down and bring in other people and reconcile their different views and compromise. If someone's making progress, bro, if that play's working, you keep running that play until they know how to stop it. And I think that's what's going to get us our actual liberations, is the grassroots that we're seeing right now in that movement. versus trying to sit down with the like Gates or anybody in the Congressional Black Caucus right now. We need to try to replace the people in the Black Caucus, not try to work with them, with people that are more in line with grassroots interests.
And I guess A Black, just to ask a question to round off like where you was at in the idea of like bringing the most talented people of different sections together to do the planning.
Mm-hmm.
In those scenarios, when there's a button of heads, whose opinion would matter more?
I mean, no, hopefully it's some maturity and respect. And we gotta sometimes disagree to get better solutions, but I think you can have constructive criticism and communication without it being like no drag out. So all right, I'll give an example. I'm in a group in Charlotte called We Are One, and we come together. So it's all type of men in the group that do levels of community service. Some are in the streets, some are in politics. One man, he's a land developer, he's in real estate dude, and everybody combines their knowledge and resources. So I think it's less of a butting of heads when you respect what other people do. I think when there is a lot of conflict, it's because one or the other don't really respect somebody, or they think what they do is more important than the other person. But when you see everybody with equal value, you sitting down as men, and maybe you have a leader or a moderator or something like that in every group, but they're not like the one leader. But it's supposed to be like a respect thing. Like, I respect what you bringing to the table. You got a fleet of dump trucks, and we need to build some infrastructure. Cool. I be in the community. I know a bunch of dudes in the hood that need jobs. Let's connect like that. I'm in politics. I can get the permits for the land. It's like everybody has different things that they can bring to the table, and it's like you respect it equally, and it's less button of head because you got the same goal.
Got you. Johnny, talk to us, brother.
I mean, you need the elites, but I think ultimately the movement has to cater to the populace, because that's the people who are going to need it the most. And you always see with elites throughout time.
So the populace should be doing the planning when it comes to Black progress.
Yes, because like the grassroots, we know what we need. The people like the elites are, so a lot of times they're isolated, and they don't necessarily feel the real problems of the everyday person. Especially in a capitalistic society, it's a big gap between the LeBrons, the Anthony Edwards of the world, and the everyday person that's walking around. So I don't think a lot of those people, especially like once they've got that money for a long time, are going to be able to really know what the average Black person in America is going to need. So I think it has to be, planned by the grassroots organization, and then, once the ball gets rolling, then you need elites to, kind of hop on and add momentum to it, add funding, add money. But it has to be the populace, because we're the ones that are actually in need of the plan.
Gotcha. Let me ask you a couple questions. Well, one, so with it being the populace, would you say that a downfall to it being based on just the populace is that the populace is easily swayed at time? An example of this would be like quick gratification. We've seen this with the stimulus checks. This was, it received rave reviews from the populace, but in 3 years, we've seen what that actually meant for the economy. Like sometimes the carrot can be easy to kind of trick the populace into doing things that are not necessarily in their best interest, i.e., rural Trump voters. This go around, they did a lot of things that haven't been in their best interest because he pushed the populist agenda. Just some pushback to your point. What's your thoughts?
No, I agree. And I think that's the problem, and I think that's why there hasn't been a good populist movement in a long time, because the society that we live in, people are easily swayed. The microwave generation, we used to just popping it in, hit 30 seconds, and being able to eat. So I think that comes down to the populace as on an individual level, what your values are, what you're going to push, what we glorify on an individual and then a community level. We do have to make some changes, of course, but if something's going to succeed that actually matters, the populace will have to be better, and the populace will have to, probably plan, and it's going to have to represent all of us in order for it to work and actually matter.
Gotcha. G, talk to us, brother.
Yeah.
You want me to repeat the question?
Yeah. That's cool. Repeat the question.
Who should be in charge of planning and deciding the plan for Black progress? There's a lot of P's in there.
So, looking at the topic, Black populism versus Black elitism, if I'm just looking at that mutually exclusive where I got to pick one or the other, I think I'm leaning towards the populism side versus the elitism side. However, similar to what you just highlighted, I don't think, it's like, just because you work at a company or a part of something don't mean you have, say, a seat at the table in terms of the vision for that organization or that entity, right? So I feel like the populist group needs its like subject matter experts at the forefront versus it being like, quote unquote, the average person making like strategic decisions about things that they don't even have experience or you're dealing with, for as an example. Because when you look at, say, like when you just look at the Black community in America and our numbers statistically, the bulk of us aren't going to fall into this elitist sort of class. The bulk of us are going to be in this more ordinary populist class. But amongst that group, you're going to find doctors, scientists, educators, bankers, entrepreneurs. You're going to find a lot of specialized skill sets. And I think that we should make sure that the people who have experience and somewhat of a proven track record in doing the things that they've done, like we, similar to what A-Black was saying, is like you want to let them bring those talents to the forefront, and kind of let these people be the ones kind of pushing the majority, because I don't, this is where, like, when we start talking about voting and stuff like that, it's like it does kind of make me wonder, like, because it's like the average person voting doesn't know why they're voting, who they're voting for, the policies that they support. Like, they just out here casting votes. And when you start talking about stuff like this, you don't want to water down the power of what you're doing when you just got niggas out here just voting for the sake of, like, because they feel like that's what they should do. You know what I mean? So you want folks who are informed, invested, and actually can move people. You know what I mean? Be like leaders of not just men, but community, who have that ability to quote unquote rally the troops, get people mobilized. Like that's a real gift and a skill set. And those types of people should have more of a voice at the forefront, in my opinion.
Gotcha. All right. So I guess let me try and ask you one or two questions dealing with what you said. So it's saying, because in essence, a bit of what you were saying is that it should be populist, but still the best and the brightest of the populace. It's saying the best and the brightest should make decisions for the populace. Still a form of elitism.
You could argue it to some degree, but I think it depends on how you define best and brightest, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's where like, if you are somebody who didn't ever go to school, didn't finish school, but you've been owning a plumbing business for 20 years and you've been doing all the pipes and plumbing around the city and know any and everything about the water system, etc. Yeah, nigga, you the best. We need that expertise. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like,
and you would want him speaking on what part of Black progress?
Shit, the water systems or some shit. Yeah. I don't know, like whatever, like whatever this nigga can help with. But what I
gonna drown out town again.
What I
you
say
gotta,
is that he can speak from that lens of being a business person, being somebody in the community, understanding just like a different aspect of things. Like I just value experience more so than quote unquote measurable best and brightest. Like I think for me, it's like, do you have genuine life experience that is diverse, that is you know, like not narrow-minded? Like, are you really open to hearing ideas, like holding opposing thoughts in your head at the same time, like really giving people that you disagree with like room to do whatever and not like make them enemies? So it's like all that is a real skill set, but I feel like life experience is the thing where I would be looking to say like you make the cut or you don't when it comes to like being at that executive or leadership level.
You gotta defer to people's expertise. So if you got this collective, yeah, you might have one leader, but before he went out to speak, he might have been advised by other people who specialize in certain things. So you might have somebody say like a Fred Hampton, who young, who 23, who can speak and can evoke the people. But before he went out on stage, you know, he had a council, he had a people, he sat down like, what's the topic today? It's Black health. He's not a doctor, but I'm the best at conveying these ideas. So I'm going to talk to the doctor in our group who might be considered elite, and he's going to tell me the best things to say. It's going to get verified. Then I'll, as a speaker or the voice, I'm going to go out and take that idea. So it's like, you know who to defer to. If it's the plumber and we building a Black town in a Black city, I'm going to defer to the plumber. I'm going to take his expertise. And when it's time to talk to the media about the city we're going to send out our leader or our best speaker to convey the ideas. So it's like you respect and you trust the expertise. Just like if you have a business and a corporation, you hire somebody to do the tech, you hire somebody to clean up, you hire different people and you trust that their position, that they're experts in their position. But you got one CEO, that's when it's time to speak for the whole company, they go and speak. But before they speak, they had a board meeting, they had a round table, and I'm getting the best ideas from the best of my community, you know.
Gotcha. Which I guess that throws to a bit of like a different question that I'm gonna write it down. Like that, it sounded like you started talking about like actually having Black leadership, and having a council around that, in which, you know, where and what should the Black CEO, the Black leader, be from? Is this somebody that should be well educated in the ranks of the, you know, the quote unquote classicals? Is this somebody that should be purely grassroots? But before we go there, there was another question that I wanted to ask. Damn, I don't lost it. Nonetheless, yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, I think
Man,
like
oh yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, A Black. So
my bad. All right, so I got it.
Let me.
My bad. I had a brain fart. But to finish off G, and then we'll actually, you know, like go to this question, and we can go to Trey first. Does the general populace actually know what's good for them?
No.
Nah. No, I don't think they do. But I think it comes down to like individual values. But yeah, I don't think people really know what's best. And I think a lot of times people get, you know, misled by a media and propaganda that's not really, you know, that we don't really control. But yeah, they don't. Yeah, we don't know what's best for us.
And because of that, it's like it's also a difference in knowing what's best for maybe you as an individual versus what might be best for the community and the greater good. Like, and so, you know, the two don't equal to me. So it's like you might know, like, oh, for me, I need this, but that doesn't necessarily that's going to equal to what the community needs to take things to the next level. So
by saying no, it sounds like you, Johnny, I'm not sure if anybody else said no, but by saying no, that means that generally speaking, you're not looking for a populist movement then, right? Because populism is based off of like what's most popular with the general consensus.
I don't think that's my understanding of what populism is based off of.
Yeah, me either.
I think it has to do with like commonalities versus popularity, in my opinion.
I think again, I can kind of look it up directly.
Look,
Maybe
I
that'd
think
be
we
the
do.
easiest way. But yeah, from like when it started all the way down to like what we look at as, you know, populist movements today, it typically is speaking for the general sentiment of a specific group.
Can I read a definition real quick?
Yeah.
And let me help you.
It's a populism, a political approach that strives to appeal to ordinary people who feel that their concerns are disregarded by the established elite groups.
Like the Tea Party movement. Like most of the dominant society isn't part of the Tea Party movement, but that was still a populist movement, though, right?
Right, because it appealed to a very specific group and it was popular within them.
Well, with Black populism, it was more so focused on farmers in, you know, after Reconstruction. So I didn't know, like, do we have like a new populist movement today that we consider a populist movement?
Well,
I guess the FBA would be the closest thing to that.
Yeah, we could probably loosely branch a couple different things. Like Marcus Garvey would fall under like a populist movement. The NOI probably would fall under like what Malcolm X was doing.
I think ordinary people is the key. Like ordinary, everyday people that are part of the working class versus the
but it's about getting them to buy into the things that you're saying. Like it has to be popular ideas that they agree upon. Like that's the part that makes it populism.
So that means it can include the elite then, right? Because
you said what?
The elite is the opposite. That means it can't include the elite then, because the elite is like the direct opposite of the common
like
man.
Trump led, like MAGA is a populist movement, but
Trump he's elite.
Like
he's an outsider.
So like, could it be led by? Definitely, because of more times than not, what typically happens inside populist movements is that they exploit the populace.
But do you think Trump could have had the success he had if he wasn't an outsider? If he was just a regular Republican, do you think he still could have led a populist movement, or did he kind of have relate to the common man? Because
I think that he couldn't do it the first time. I think the second time he could. The first time he was basing everything off of being an outsider. The second time has been different.
So I think that's different than when you think we say an elite. When you think an elite, you think of someone that's like part of the establishment, like part of the status quo, not someone that's an outsider trying to disrupt.
Like populism is rooted around like the common person is as like that's the core of like the appeals. Like, we're not getting what we deserve from the people in power. Like that's like the general sort of like simplified version of it. So like you don't. So if you are a part of that group, what was your question, Q? Like, do you need an elitist to be a part of it, or what was your question originally?
No, that wasn't my question at all. I said by saying no, you're not advocating for populism. When I asked, does the general populace know what's best?
Oh, see, that's what
y'all said no.
I think we still are advocating for populism, even though we say no. Yeah.
And I would say that because even at the first, I said the populace, has to change. Like I say, I think it's about like a core principle or code or belief system that we all, should get back to agreeing with. And then I think that could make populism work. But yeah, I guess it would take a change, but it could work, and I think that is ultimately what would be best for us.
So as a point of clarity,
John said the key word though. Like, people gotta be on code, man. You can't be best in your field. You can be a man about being elite. Like the people need to be on one accord. And if the people are on one accord and then they start getting momentum, then they need to only share the message and the people that receive it and they're on code with that message, they're the ones that need to be a part of the movement. But you don't need to change the code. It's supposed to be exclusionary. I think things lose their potency when they're not exclusionary.
Yeah, it has to be
exclusionary. No, it's not.
I mean, like you might be like an advocate for elitism, but that would
elitism
move to it.
Can you give me an example of an elitist that looked out for the common man and prioritized the common man instead of enriching themselves? Because if it's elitism, then so be it. But I think something that aims to lift up the trenches, it's hard to really call that elitist because it's like trying to go build up people against the elite. So you know what I'm saying? You don't see the contradiction there? Like, so if Martin Luther King had a tight circle of people and then wasn't open door, but he had a poor man's march and wanted to get reparations for all black people. Is that elitism if he kept the small circles?
Yeah, just to my understanding, I think that you look at Martin Luther King as an elite. Now he's a part of like the literal Boule that you said is responsible for the destruction of Black America.
And then look
like
what happened.
That would make him like a literal elite. But
then look what happened to him though. Because he was a part of those circles, a lot of them got to him. A lot of them talk about the Jesse Jacksons, a lot of the people in the Boule, like how a lot of stuff was kind of set up. A lot of people he was mixed up with, and had a lot of this mystery around his death. That's what you get from an elitist movement. That's why you need a grassroots movement. And you don't need to be bending over backwards trying to adjust your message to make people understand who aren't on code.
What would you say is the most successful? What's like the most successful grassroots movement?
Man, this is probably not going to be a good example. The first thing I can think of is the Tea Party movement.
Well, let me say, I guess for black people, what's the most
Nation of Islam? I would say.
What's the Tea Party movement?
Well,
how do you like just to like
Islam got a lot of elites involved into that as far as black elites. Like it's a lot of rich Muslims, doctors, lawyers. Like they wasn't a bunch of
being rich.
Everybody didn't come from prison. Like they got a lot of money in the Nation of Islam.
I don't think being rich.
I wouldn't call them elite because like look how they did Farrakhan. Like he could be powerful and stuff, but they're still like, as far as when it comes to power, there's they have left this group out.
Farrakhan definitely a black elite now.
But yeah, I'm about to say shout out to the NOI, but there was nothing higher than the word of Elijah Muhammad. Like typically, they all just quoted saying from the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm not saying against us, but I'm saying like his message and stuff has got washed out because they have canceled him like on the mainstream. He can be like elite, but as far as like it's they don't really hear him, and they've done a good job of like taking him out.
I think his cancellation made him even bigger online because now you have all these content pages that's chopping up his speeches, that's posting him everywhere, for views and clicks. Like maybe it's my algorithm, because I'm Muslim or whatever, but I haven't not seen him with no present online. Like Farrakhan's got something floating online every day almost. So did he really get canceled? I mean, maybe by the white liberals and the Jews, but he's still just as big.
And I imagine we believe that like the quote unquote elites can get canceled as well, though, right?
Of course, especially if they go against the program.
I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I didn't think that. Well, I guess I was saying that to say the idea like being canceled doesn't make you or not make you elite is pretty much me making that statement to say.
They tried to cancel Malcolm X. Didn't Elijah Muhammad try to cancel Malcolm X for a minute? Because of something he said.
They tried to silence him, and
he did. They excommunicated him. He was silent for a while. They tried to kill him. They tried a lot of stuff, but I mean, eventually, he went to the media and started speaking out.
But did anybody have an answer to A Black's question?
Oh yeah, about grassroots, and I was asking that because we say grassroots, and I'm like, if there was a successful grassroots movement, I guarantee it was some elites involved.
Yeah, because like the most recent examples would be like Black Lives Matter, Occupy Wall Street. But in terms of like for black folks specifically, like the closest thing to a quote unquote grassroots thing would be like most recently would be Black Lives Matter, but there are elites tied to that through and through from every angle. So
Yeah, and look how that worked out. It was a big grift.
maybe FBA is grassroots.
I mean, that ChatGPT says Black Panther Party and the Civil Rights Movement started off as grassroots, but they definitely had elites involved in civil rights movement. Got the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa, Black Lives Matter, as G said, and the Harlem Renaissance, about a Million Man March, NAACP, and the Black Farmers Movement. That's all they got.
So I guess let me ask y'all this question as we're talking about the black elite still kind of going around the idea of populism. We don't have it like completely cleanly defined, but do you think the black elite, we'll just put this as like the quote unquote bourgeoisie class, and the populists have opposing goals?
Yeah, for sure. I think the goal of particularly the Boule Sigma Pi Phi is to be the only.
And I want, we can get to Sigma Pi Phi. Let's just use it as like more colloquially, like just the more affluent blacks. Whether you want to say, like the upper middle class and above blacks.
It depends on how you get there. The only reason I said Boule is because those people got there by having to compromise some things. Versus if you got a bunch of money by doing something in the grassroots, like that doesn't make you like bourgeoisie or Boule. You know what I mean? I think it depends on if you got your money within the system by being selected by people who are like non-black people who are powerful within the system. But I think that takes away from your credibility.
Right, so I'll reframe this question inside maybe a more digestible way, without using titles. So they say that the majority of black wealth is concentrated within like the top 10%. This is not going to be all members of Sigma Pi Phi, but it's also going to be, like a higher socioeconomic grouping of people that could be through standards of deviation called the elite. So asking that same question when defining it that way, does the black elite and the populace have opposing goals? Do people with black people with money and black people that are, just kind of struggling and trying to figure it out, have opposing goals?
Opposing,
depends, man.
Or
I think
different?
I think different. Yeah, G said it. Yeah.
So you don't think how
do they conjoin at anywhere that doesn't deal with exploiting the populace by those people with money?
Did Master P exploit the populace?
I mean,
I don't understand how you
see by y'all definition. Everybody gets exploited because y'all told me capitalism is just inherently exploitative, right? So, like, if we go by that definition, everybody's gonna get exploited at some point.
And by me saying exploiting just meaning like you're already like a black elite, and like you're using like your exploitation is just based off of we have common goals because I make all my money with you, not that I'm helping you. That's where you can have common goals that's exploitative. That doesn't necessarily like pull up and bring up. I think make it even easier, even if you're like a one-stop shop where you're not even employing people, but your product is something that can take from the community but doesn't give to the community, and you're not intentionally within that framework giving to the community.
I think exactly. You just said it. I'm about to say capitalism is cool when you capitalize off something and you circling it back and giving it back. So I wouldn't say a Master P would be exploitive because he's been heavily involved in, community stuff, for years. Maybe somebody like Lil Wayne, you could argue is, because he's done a couple of performative things in the past, but Master P is like heavily entrenched into the New Orleans community as far as giving back, not only just financial, but the programs that he creates, the basketball camp. So it's lots of ways to blow up and then give back to your community. But if you just capitalize, become rich off something or somebody, that's just straight exploitation when you don't do anything to kind of help lift up others.
Yeah, I think they don't have to be opposing. Like a Killer Mike is another example of somebody who has worked with communities to like not exploit them, but like find ways for them to make money off of their own ideas, whether it be the Crip soda. That shit was like a fire idea, start marketing like the lifestyle and everything and branding and everything. So yeah, I think the
would you say this is like a mindset of the majority of the people that fall within this realm, or are these more of the outliers? Does the average person that's within inside that elite class, are they looking to do like the Master P or the Killer Mike, or are they like looked at and revered as exceptional because of their doing that?
Nah, they the outliers. Like most of people, they do little things. They might get some turkeys back, pay a few people rent. You know, they do.
And even them, they getting corporate dollars for that. It's not even their own money.
Yeah, but
it's what about your Bill Cosby's? Throw a bunch of money at a bunch of black causes, a bunch of black universities, try to make TV programming that shows black people in a good light versus you know.
But do you look at Bill Cosby as an elite? You know, he was a part of that Sigma Pi Phi too, right?
Yeah, that's an example
so he is
of someone who
elite too.
Yeah, I guess he is elite. So that would be, it's really a spectrum, man, because you have your Master P's who do everything good for you know his people, and then you have on the opposite side of that, you have your Diddy who, you know, at the end he was starting to break bad and talk about we need to make our own party and stuff like that. But he got his whole come up exploiting the people. And then you have your Jay-Z's on the other side. But in between, I think you have your Bill Cosby's who they are at Boule and they are supposed to stick to that code. But on the back end, it's hard to get like an FBA to on their conscience, like get over on their people indefinitely. Eventually, a lot of times you see them break bad and start doing things like they don't like to see only programming on TV that makes their people look bad. So if they have the power to do something about it, a lot of times they will, or they'll if they have a bunch of money and they see that we have a lack of education, they'll put money on that. I think a lot.
But I guess Trey, I guess I'm trying to understand just the POV and just how you kind of place this. You're saying that Bill Cosby, also I guess Martin Luther King, they're part of the organization that is the most destructive thing in the black community, but you're saying that they also decide to do good at the end, or like I'm trying to understand what you're saying, because you're saying Sigma Pi Phi is the most destructive thing and that's existed within the black community, and these are like the most like famous of them. But why wouldn't you then think that these are two of the most destructive niggas in black history?
Well, I think if they would have stuck to the program, they wouldn't have got punished the way that we see them get punished.
So you think that, what did Bill Cosby do that went away from any of their program? He didn't he never really like broke bad inside the way. He tried to buy
NBC, man.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he did put out a lot of programming that showed black people in a good light. You can tell he had a soft spot for, you know,
but he was doing that since the 70s. That from Fat Albert to the Cosby Show to A Different World, like that's always been his play. But how can you reconcile like that, the Boule being this negative thing, and he went 30 years of having positive black programming? Then that would have to be a part of the Boule's planning, right?
No, it's definitely a good. What's up, John?
No, I think when it comes to
Boule, I can come back to that.
When it comes to, I think we should judge them off a different standard, because we talking about like the entrepreneurs in the top 10%. The best way to give back, like you can do money in programming, but we should look at them about how many jobs they create, how much like wealth they're building, opportunities they're giving back. Because I think a lot of time when you look at these upper echelon, the Sigma Pi Phi, when they get up there, they turn around and start working, you know, with the other man instead of the brother man. A lot of times sometimes you hear people say it. So I think if these you know, groups, once they got up there, if they turned around and started giving opportunities, not just, you know, programming or stuff that's, you know,
it sounded like that's what Bill Cosby was doing. And Martin Luther King, he was even advocating for reparations at the end.
And what happened? And what happened to them?
Oh, you think that the Boule killed him because he was advocating for reparations?
I think he was on the verge of something good for his people, and that's not the purpose of the Boule. If you go against the purpose of a group that you're a part of, then especially if it's a group of powerful people, then I don't think it's a coincidence that you see people die mysteriously who take that route, trying to get too powerful.
Okay.
Because if you're black and Boule, you're still under the window, the umbrella of like the dominant society. Like these are not like some.
Yeah, I just don't understand how that whole thing works. I would just imagine that they'll be.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's not a freelance
like
organization.
Skull and Bones based. Like you sign that.
But it's
blood.
a subsidiary. They are the sons.
I know. I'm just saying that they're. I don't think they're like the legitimate sons, but
no, they are.
If we say that they are a subsidiary
of the Skull and Bones,
sure. All I'm saying is that if they are supposed to be formed after and based off of Skull and Bones, they like you're not crossing the Skull and Bones. But again,
so
we've attended from like a completely different part of the conversation.
I got you.
Yeah, we've kind of went down a rabbit hole of me just wanting to fuck with you for a quick second. Pause. But
undefeated.
Oh, no, that was a hell of a box.
No, bro.
You said that the blacks, the same niggas that saved the black community, is the ones killing the black community. But you know,
hey,
you said that, and then
never lost.
I tried to explain. When I say that,
Big LeVar Ball.
You make a claim, and then when I'm trying to explain it, then you run, and then claim it.
I didn't run. I allowed you to explain it like 3 times.
No, you pushing the topic. So hold on. So you really don't understand that how a person who's a part of an organization goes against that organization goes punished.
I don't think that Bill Cosby went against the organization.
Oh, okay. So the organization is meant to be a gatekeeper for black people, and he's trying to make a way for black people, but you don't see how that goes against.
He did it for 30 years. Why wouldn't he have died when he made Fat Albert then?
Then he eventually was trying to buy NBC. And what do you think he would have done with NBC when he has that history of good black?
Well, can I ask a real question? Because you seem to be knowledgeable about the Boule and their agenda. Like, what are they set out to do? Like you said, like they're destructive. So like what? Like when you become a member of these niggas, what do you pledge that I'm gonna do? Or like, what are you carrying out on their behalf?
I think a good metaphor would be on the plantation, the Negro middle management between massa and the field hands.
And what does that look like in reality, though? Like, so that means they like, so do they do stuff like destructive to us? Do they help us?
They do what they're told by the dominant society.
So they just do okay. So they're puppets. They're puppets of people in
power. They need to have right because they need to have somebody out there so it looks like we can win. There's always an exceptional Negro because they don't have that, then we're just gonna all rebel. So they put them out there, be like, oh, if you work hard, you can be like me, but then make sure you don't do anything to help those other Negroes. Though that's why you see billionaires like Oprah. You know, what can she do with those bees? Like. There must be some
why would Cosby make all that like positive black programming and do all these like significant contributions to black schools and things like that if he's a part of that organization?
Because I think you can do some things that push the needle a little bit, but they're not going to let you do enough. Like they want us to feel like we are able to do something, but as soon as it's time to make real changes, like the March on Washington, and then we're coming to get our checks behind NBC. Michael Jackson owning all the publishing, they're soon not giving it back. Like once you have that much power, that's when the people, like the dominant society, who are the most powerful and have stuff happening behind the scenes, can pull levers and make things happen to you. But it's not like you can't do anything, because then that'd be too obvious. Does that make sense?
I hear you.
And these people, like, are they co-signed to understand these rules, or are they just like operating just as
I don't know the answer to that question, man. Because some people, if you get somebody like brainwashed enough, they'll do your bidding and then think they're doing it for themselves.
So how are they doing all the bidding for the dominant society? I imagine you're talking about the string pullers of white supremacy. But like they never actually sit and have like a planned meeting for them and have like an understanding of what they need to accomplish for this group.
There's levels. You know how the military, like a person who carries out the orders may not know exactly who made the orders. You know what I mean? Or the orders may have came from the top.
But they do be getting like an order from somebody that's like, hey, make a fat cartoon character with like 5 friends, base it around like, you know, black values and community, and that'll get them going.
Honestly, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to. I don't know what he's doing on his own behalf or what he did because he was told to. But I know that when he tried to get NBC, or when black men get too powerful, or when they try to sue certain people like Diddy, that's when tapes come out. They're like 10 to 15 years old that they've been sitting on. I think a lot of other things to do, even with these politicians, is they'll blackmail them, have them in compromising positions, and then once they have them there, then they can take away everything they have if they don't follow the orders. Because I think even Kanye was talking about, wasn't his handler like a former intelligence officer from Canada who specialized in like chemistry or something like that? And then like they have like handlers who.
Yeah, I don't know how like all this ties back into the Black Boule specifically though, and not as much as like a more of an overarching umbrella of white supremacy. But we can finish this a little bit later. I don't want to get too bogged down on it. So continue to moving the conversation forward. I guess I'll ask you this: has Black America ever been represented by the populace and not the elite?
Ooh, the slave revolts.
Okay, so post-slavery, have we ever been represented by the populace and not the elite?
It's all been elite representation.
Yeah, I mean, if you think even back to slavery, the Underground Railroad, it was a lot of the free Black people instituting stuff. You got Ida B. Wells writing stuff, anti-lynching stuff. It was educated. It was the people who was already free who facilitated a lot of the things going on. Like we always have worked cohesively. You know, that's why I'm like, when has it ever been an exclusionary thing? Like they've always needed us. We've always needed them. You know, it's been a hand in hand. It's like it is sellouts on both sides, but you also had elite people who was woke. You always also had grassroots people who was woke, and they used each other to help get free. You got people that was born free, never was a slave in their life, but still was anti that and wanted to help people and risk their own freedom to get people free, you know, and they didn't never have to do that. So we've always worked hand in hand, the haves and the have-nots. And it's like that's how it should be, you know. And you got people that who say like, all right, that's not my problem too, and you know, them niggas got it. I ain't trying to get caught up. I got my life is good, but you also got people who went and risked their own freedom, like born free, and still was going to the South trying to save people who was trying to help folks. So we always have helped each other.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
Yo, who do you think is like, because like if we think about like the first like black figure of like the times, to me like Frederick Douglass might be the oldest one that come to mind. Is there somebody that come to mind for y'all that was like had a voice, quote unquote, that gets talked about pre Frederick Douglass?
Shit, David Walker.
I mean,
He was actually a Pan African.
I mean, you can go back. I don't know if we can talk about them with the Haitian Revolution. You got
Americans specifically.
Okay, but I say Dessalines and stuff. But
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, before Frederick Douglass, it was people, but it wasn't as popularized because the media wasn't as advanced yet. You ain't got the printing press. You ain't got these stories really being told. But I'm sure, and I'm not even sure I know that there were people before Frederick Douglass that was rebelling, that was organizing. But
that had that voice though that gets recognized as like.
No, I think Frederick Douglass was one of the first, just because, like I say, the way newspapers were coming into their own. I think he had his own newspaper too. Like I say, the way the media advanced and the prominence of leaders advanced. But we've always had leaders and stuff. It's just he was one of the first, I think, mainstream popularized ones.
We had people during the revolution. During the Civil War that decorated heroes.
But like, how many of these people do you actually like recognize the name and so forth?
I guess Harriet.
Yeah, nobody but Harriet. But like I say, it was,
and Harriet was same time as Frederick Douglass, if not later, I think. Technically,
William Lloyd Garrison. Well, I mean, before him, if you were reading in public, you might die.
Garrison was white, bro.
Oh, I'm tripping. Yeah, I had a list. It was somebody like Robert Smalls. He was one of the people that was campaigning to Lincoln to allow us to be able to fight in the Civil War, and then we also had the Knights of Liberty.
I think they're doing a movie on Robert Smalls too.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Yeah. But the question though was like, had we had like a populist leader, and so I was trying to bring that up to say that like when you look at quote unquote the most widely known leaders that we think of throughout history, starting with essentially Frederick Douglass forward, all of them have been elite for their times, like whether it be because they were free, were educated, literate, etc. They had unique, with the Du Bois, Booker T.
So they got Crispus Attucks, Prince Hall, Benjamin Banneker.
King Boule.
I mean, Benjamin Banneker. These were leaders, James Fortin. But yeah, that's the G point. Nobody as popular as Frederick, because like I say, I think he came into the time where the media and the press was advancing.
Man, nah, it's just because we don't educate ourselves about our heroes. We rather learn about stuff that happened on other continents, and it's crazy because isn't that what HBCU is supposed to be doing? Like, what about the Knights? What about Knights of Liberty? But the Knights of Liberty was a secret society that was organizing slave revolt. They had like all the hand signals and everything, and like I forgot how many members, but it was a very large organization. And then right when the Civil War was about to start, they realized they didn't have to do that, so they just contributed with that war. We also have a bunch of Moors that were in Florida, and they had communities of Black people who went generations and were never enslaved.
I don't think nobody's denying that. I think when you start talking about quote unquote, like these are incidents that, like, yes, what you're saying is true, but at the end of the day, if not a lot of people know about it, then it's like, then who's leading? Like, what did you lead? Right? You know what I'm saying? It's like there's a lot of instances of black people stepping up and doing things. I'm not saying black people never did nothing before Frederick Douglass. What I'm simply saying is like when you look at who is widely known as, say, a leader in the community, like regardless of being in a little pocket in Florida, regardless of being all these other things, when you look at how how all this history is written, like there are a lot of prominent figures, but even like a Benjamin Banneker, for example, like he was like an inventor type nigga, right? Like a scientist type dude. So it's like it wasn't it like Frederick Douglass was kind of like the first of his kind to sort of like start be like actually having a voice and getting respect from the mainstream. It's like I don't know if anybody existed before.
He is because he was born a slave, so that means he's coming out of slavery. So I mean, people before him were enslaved, and to have a voice that powerful would get you killed. So it's like, it really wasn't.
And Trey, you'd be proud because did you say he married a white woman before he died?
Who? Frederick? Oh, Harriet Tubman. Oh, you talking about Frederick Douglass?
Fred, didn't he get one? Like, right?
I wouldn't say that. I don't know if that's like something to be proud about. I mean, shot. I mean, but you did marry a white woman.
But yeah, I think for the context of
the groundwork for you to go play.
Bro, hear me out, bro. It's just saying, bro. Unless you down to kiss that the butt of our sisters, they see how the brothers shame you.
Damn it,
because that's all it is. I'm not into it. Like I'm not just because I'm not into kissing butt doesn't mean I love like Becky. You know what I mean? But also we have what's this called? Martin Delaney. We had the Deacons of Defense. We had the Black Liberation Army. We had Dick Gregory. I mean, he spoke up for black people, but he was kind of on the celebrity end. But he was always saying, talking against white supremacy. Then you had Paul Mooney. We've always had a class of like within our entertainers, like we've had a steady flow of black people who are advocating for us. I think just because we're not aware of these people, that's more of an indictment on us. Paul Mooney. He spoke.
I said, did he speak for you? And would you represent?
I agree with a lot of the things he said about white supremacy, but he might have said something I don't know about. But from what I've seen, he seemed to understand white supremacy.
And just so we stop putting that white woman on Frederick. He was married to the love of his life. He was married to the love of his life for 44 years. She died, and he married the white woman Helen when he was 68 years old as a political statement, in hopes that showing that they're interracial.
He crawled so niggas like
Trey could walk.
Trey could walk, baby.
Trey trying to make a political statement.
He laid the groundwork.
It wasn't really for like love and like he loved white women. He thought he was making like a political statement with the whole integration thing. But he married his black woman for 44 years.
That's respect.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's crazy. Y'all really,
I think that's really probably the best way.
Y'all never heard me say I love Becky or nothing crazy like that, but here y'all go every time, man. It's
I'm
crazy.
just saying that you want to like you're willing to marry or date a Becky as a political statement against black women. And I mean,
so you offended because niggas compare you to Frederick Douglass like that. So you telling me an FBA brother like yourself is offended when you get compared to one of the greats like Frederick, bro? Come on now.
If you want to bring it up for that reason,
if that's not self-hate, I don't know what it is. Like you just got compared to one of the goats, and you don't like that.
I don't know, man. It's just every week about like white women. And it's like,
but you don't like white women.
I don't. It's all women. I mean, I think black women got the most potential. I like that they are a reflection of me. But I think
you do like white women.
I don't like the only thing. Look, I need to apologize to everyone. I apologize to the chat because I made a mistake. I know that within our community, we are not allowed to say one critical word about our women. Otherwise, you get ostracized because the criticism is only allowed one way in the black community. And I take back everything critical that I've ever said, although it came from a good place and it was meant to be constructive. But Given the backlash, it really wasn't worth it. I think that we should just protect the sisters, but we should never correct any behavior, and anything they do is the right thing to do because they're queens. All of them.
But you like white women if she treats you right, you know.
If a white woman,
that was a hell of a deflection. I ain't gonna
look, if a white woman is helping the brother to get on his program, and that's who he's around, that's what what's the name? Harriet Tubman said when a little girl asked her about interracial dating. She said, based on your proximity and however they treat you, then you know it is what it is. So if it's good for not Harriet Tubman, I'm tripping. If it's good enough for Maya Angelou, then it's good enough for me.
So yes, then right?
Nah, whatever Maya Angelou said.
So she basically, Maya Angelou basically said, if you can use a white man to come up, then use him. But she ain't say nothing about love, and she said, if you can come up.
I don't think that's what she said. She said she didn't say she's not nothing about using the blade. So I agree. Whatever's good enough for Nina Simone, good enough for me.
You following the gynocracy,
right?
Whatever. I mean, I have no choice because
or you bowing to the gynocracy.
No, I don't. Anything that y'all say in support of the gynocracy.
You just gave a full speech for the gynocracy and your submission to it.
Yeah, I'm submitting to the gynocracy. The gynocrats, y'all got me, bro. I've learned my lesson, bro. I've been berated for saying something critical to now I regret saying anything. I don't see nothing bad. I don't have nothing to say. No positive criticism. No, I'm done talking about this, man, because I promise you it's from a place of love, man, because I do think they have the best potential. I think it's up to men to, give proper criticism when due as guidance and part of protection, but it's really not worth it, bro.
Gotcha. Johnny,
I don't think you should follow Nina Simone because her white husband beat her up and they got divorced. So.
Oh, damn. She went out like the Barge family, where he was like.
But you say that's good enough for you, though, right?
Whatever you say about the gynocracy, I agree with. I don't care about that.
Johnny, as a fellow Jungle Fever, what is it? Jungle Fever brother?
Rockhillian.
I can't speak right now. Yeah, Rockhillian. Give your brother some words of encouragement at least. He can't crash out on the white women like that, right?
Hey, just love who love you, man. And
there you go, Johnny.
Hey, just love who love you, bro. Keep it simple like that.
Johnny like Mr. Miyagi with it. He just wax on, wax off with it cut his way. He's like, I'm gonna get me. I'm still go. I got my gloves on right now, ready in the summertime. That boy ready to go right, dip in the snow right now. Ain't no sweat to a player. I see you, Johnny. I see you, bro.
You just got love who love you, man. And man,
I just wish the sisters would do this stuff whenever.
I just wish the sisters Johnny, all lives matter.
Around each other, bro. Whenever they see them do this, bro. I just don't like the one-sidedness, bro. I just think like things to be fair. This shit seems like some subservient, toolish, puppy dog, temporary BS that's really not going to take us nowhere close to empowerment. But I ain't trying to take nobody out the gynocracy. If that's where you comfortable, then I'm going to play along, and then I'll keep my words somewhere else.
I dig it. All right, so it sounds like y'all kind of answered this already, but I'll ask it either way. Have the black elite controlled black progress? Is there anybody that opposed that? If not, then we can kind of keep moving.
They're losing control now, thanks to FBA movement. But yeah. They did. I think that after MLK was assassinated, they went on a crazy run. But before that, we had more grassroots representation.
If you look at I listed the biggest grassroots movement earlier, which was like Black Panthers Party, civil rights. Those are mostly grassroots led, and elites came in, later on to join, but I don't think they control or led those things. So I don't know of an elitist movement that's really progressed us. I feel like they kind of join into grassroots stuff with funding or adding visibility to certain people.
What about the Divine Nine?
Have they progressed black people?
That's why I'm
and I guess like so by
using
using the word elite, this isn't necessarily as much as like elite movement per se, as much as like the black people with money and power being in control of what happens within the black community. Doesn't necessarily have to be like Sigma Pi Phi coordination, as much as like these are the people that are doing things inside their best interests that has therefore impacted black people at the highest level. I think Steve has the example of like the Democrats and how we often say that the Democrats don't help black people. But if you look at a very specific heavy voting block in the Democrat Party, it ends up being the exact black people that do benefit from the Democrat Party, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. I mean, to me, you asking a black man.
Oh yeah, but I was just adding that into.
I think there's a big difference between the people who are associated with these organizations and people that just have money. Because if you're in those organizations, that means you have proximity to the dominant society, and then because literally, like the organizations are within the same family, and then
like, would we consider Divine Nine black elites? Like, or would that be considered?
I think that at its core, I probably would say yes.
Used to be.
But being in Divine Nine doesn't make you a black elite.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that them as an organization and what they've did over time, a lot of like our earlier professionals and doctors, lawyers, XYZ have been Divine Nine. So they did have like organization, they had meetings, they had planning and structure. And I could imagine that within that, successful men and women that, like they would have a blueprint, fingertips on, what black progress look like.
You think they used to have more control than they have now? Like these Greek organizations, when having an education was something.
I think they definitely used to have a lot more control.
Yeah, I think they used to. The biggest thing I've seen recently is them raising that $80 million for Kamala in like 2 days. But as far as overall control, like I don't see it. Like they are in different spaces of, like you say, doctors and lawyers and high positions. But as far as like moving the needle on all the black people, I don't see nothing doing that really, that in a good way.
I think
they're not as impactful within our generation for sure.
I think the elites used to have more power, but I think like as time has went on and they've like kind of capitulated to the white man and the system, I think they've eventually lost power over us because we realize they don't even really have the power. They've given that away to other structures. You can even look at like some of the rappers and how like they represent black culture, like kind of internationally. Like you go other places, they look at rappers as a representation of black culture, but they don't really control, the music and stuff. It's controlled by another community that is really in charge of it. So when you're not in charge of your own destiny, you kind of lose, control of the group, the population.
Agreed.
It never really made sense to me having a bunch of black people, getting behind some like Greek letters. But, that's a different point.
Gotcha. G.
I think we go to the next question.
All right. In which it was going to be Divine Nine's impact, past and present, but shout out to whoever just asked that.
But real quick, is everybody nobody on the panel is Greek?
Nah.
That's crazy. 5 dudes, all went to school, none of us Greek, and none of us vote Democrat. We're in like a small percentage.
We would not be populist.
Yeah, no, we
Nah,
out.
most like look, the average black person that go to college is not Greek. Like, I don't think that. I think that's a stereotype, not a reality. Like,
I think at USC it was more because at PWIs you see more.
But how many black people do y'all have in like y'all?
Because the lines don't be but so big relative
like
to the
15
size of the
like
black population.
I'm sure y'all had a couple hundred, maybe a few thousand black people at USC. No,
it was more than that because we had like 30,000 people, 40,000. I think it was like 7% black.
So you talking about like 40 out of how many thousand? Like
So
that's a really small percentage, actually.
It's about a couple thousand. It seems small, but it's like I seem
just
like
allow minority, man.
Yeah, man, because there were plenty of black people at USC.
That's why I would say that amongst black people, they do kind of get an elite tag, in my opinion, because like it's treated as like the black community treats it with like a certain prestige, for whatever the reason, you know. So
especially when you get a legacy. Remember the black population,
like, it's a very loud minority in the community. When you really think about like how many black people go to school versus how many black people are in these organizations, it's not, you know, I don't know what the exact number is, but it's not like, you know, it's just a minority of black people in these organizations, but yet it gets framed like that's the black college experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, join one of the organizations, etc. So
gotcha. All right, so I guess as we start to round this off, gatekeeping, black gatekeeping. Should a select group of people be in charge of black progress and black representation? It's a bit of a spinoff one of the earlier questions, but again, black gatekeeping. Should there be a select group of people that are in charge of black representation and black progress?
Yeah, especially they got to be on code, man. If they aren't on code, we don't want them around.
I think there should be, but they can't be because we don't have a trust in nobody for real. But I think conceptually we should. We gotta police things. We gotta make sure anything not getting in. But it's like, who can we trust these days? It's not got a hidden agenda. And then even if they don't, somebody pulling up some shit they did from 20 years ago to discredit them. So it's like who go be the gatekeepers and the police of culture or anything we got going on, because we have a distrust for everybody now.
I mean, but I think we have to go and like it's kind of not unfair, but if you look at like some of the Islamic movements and how like those are movements that stand the test of time. They lose leaders and they continue, you know, working, and these movements continue, you know, pushing even without even when leadership changes, because it's a common, you know, belief and a common principle that actually pushes it. And even some of these leaders are of the Boule, they'd be of the top 1% of their own, you know, collective or respective communities. But a lot of times they're willing to sacrifice. They're selfless, and when they get replaced, it just keeps on going because it is all about like the principles that they live by.
Yeah.
And they do have a religion.
Their principles, yes. I'm about to say it's rooted in spirituality and religion, and you know those things don't change. So it's easy to keep some consistency and continuity because it's like the rules don't change. You know, just the leaders.
The leaders can change, but I'm saying that's something black people. I think that's a very interesting thing about how they operate versus what we're trying to do over here. There has to be something that we get a commonality.
I think that's exactly what we're doing with when these FBA spaces they talk about doing. That's why they don't want a specific leader. They want a leader to be a code. And they also talk about a spirituality called Majar Spirit, which is based on some readings like about the American indigenous people on this county that black people were doing, like how Frederick Douglass had, I forgot what type of plan it was on him when he went and beat up his slave master, the person trying to break him and got his freedom. So we had a long history in like root work type stuff.
And wait, what was the you said it's called what? Majal?
Majar. It's like the same.
How you spell it?
It's M-U. Let me not mess this up, man. It's spelled crazy as fuck. But it's based on, Mojo. It's like comes from like that. There's a relation there.
I know what mojo means, but all right, you can keep going. I just wanted to look it up as you were saying it, but if you're not sure, like
yeah, let's see if I can find the spell.
TBI put it in there. I see it.
Oh, good little TBI.
And this is like a spiritual system, you saying?
It's just basically, so when people are on plantations, they have like more of a connection with the environment. So do the Black indigenous people over here. So it kind of taps into that. Same like with the Haitian Revolution, how they were doing with with their spirituality thing they had going on over there, which wasn't based on, white Jesus, obviously. So it's just trying to get away, because we are very spiritual people. So it's just trying to get back more to the roots versus what we picked up through, like the Black church.
A mix between mojo and aura. Mujara.
I just read that too. Oh, thanks.
All right. Yeah, my bad. I'm trying to read it. You just stopped talking.
Crazy.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we all was inside like a little research spin. I'm gonna leave that alone for the moment and kind of let y'all live. We do got to call in. Shout out to the homie Steve. What's going on, brother?
Yo, what's good?
Not much.
Hey, I want to applaud Trey. I know he wanted to go off on the gunocracy tonight, but he didn't take the bait.
Yeah, I'm learning my lesson, bro. I'm beating into it.
White women calm them down.
Yeah.
Nah, not the white women. Y'all calm me down. I with the endless shaming for even saying something that wasn't positive. That was.
I don't even think anybody said anything about it. I think A Black just if you like white women.
Y'all stay me, man.
And he didn't say no.
Y'all know me.
Never did. He just went on like long diatribes about how he's into the gynocracy.
I stay in the chat talking about a lot of the problems in our community with the relationship dynamic, and that translates to all y'all hear is Trey loves white women. So I don't care no more, bro. There's no issues with the dynamics in our community at all. Everything's perfect.
But you haven't said you don't like white women, and it's cool if you do, because you like
Johnny just said he like white women, and it's okay.
I didn't say that. Hold up.
Oh, you don't like white women? Johnny, you don't.
Johnny clapping them milk of magnesia.
Milk of magnesia.
Hey, I like.
Are you reverting your stance? I don't know, Johnny. I thought when you said I like all women, that included white women.
I said I like who like me. I love who love me. And that
sound like a scavenger. That's crazy.
Whoa.
I love who love you, bro. You gotta be, yeah.
Hey, brother, you gotta put some limits on that.
I mean, hey, say love the girl, love women.
Trey, get your boy, man. Get your boy.
You love John. You didn't say he loves women that love him.
Yeah, of course. But I ain't gotta.
Like fit women or like
we were talking about women.
Can they work certain jobs?
You might want to put some criteria on that. But hey, look,
what kind of job your woman can work? Could she be a lawyer?
Absolutely.
Oh
no,
I ain't tripping on that. You ain't finna, yeah.
Can she work around lawyers?
Absolutely, yeah. Paralegal, do what you gotta do, boo. Hey.
Okay, John. All right, so let your girl be more ambitious than you, be around a bunch of ambitious men while you just she carrying you and you being an underachiever, and tell me she's not going to be attracted to
anything about that, Trey?
That's what I said.
You calling Johnny lazy?
That's what I said.
Like who said?
No, John. John, but John,
why you calling Johnny lazy like that? Like my man's don't got ambitions.
Hey Steve, we're gonna get back to you. My bad, brother.
Now y'all good. I'm enjoying the conversation.
It's good. No, but I said that in the chat that if your woman's more ambitious than you and you're an underachiever, you probably don't want her around a bunch of go-getters because she's gonna be attracted to them. And they're like, black women can't be lawyers. I'm like, okay, bro, y'all got it. That's when I was like, man, I'm done criticizing any of this, talking about relationships at all.
But they like underachievers because they make them feel bigger about themselves. That's why you see a lot of women that overachieve and have money and they with a bum because they make them feel good.
That's usually the matchup for sure.
Yeah, they don't want a man on their level.
You think she's not gonna get tired of carrying her man?
No, she likes the power dynamic.
I might go find a doctor next. Shoot.
Because when she get with somebody on her level or greater, it devalidates all her accomplishments.
Yeah, because they don't need it. It's the whole Kevin Samuels point.
I think women like to have a man that they can admire.
Nah, I think they like the one they can have one they can have power and dominion over.
Women like projects too. They like to be able to try to fix a man and doing all of that.
Like that hood nigga that be like, you so smart, you got a degree. They impressed by that stuff. You got a degree, you go to school, you a good girl. A nigga that got that stuff too don't care about that. He got it too.
It's actually fair. I do know like some women with degrees, and they usually be having like regular dudes, to be honest.
Yeah, they love a hood nigga. I already did the survey.
Worker, bro, we clocking in them 40.
So women with degrees.
That's why I was gonna say, because I know a lot of. I don't to say a lot. I know plenty of women who are making like pretty good money, quote unquote, went to elite schools, and they nigga work at a warehouse.
That shit, some of my cousins.
Yeah.
Shorty last week said her basement was 40K. She was like, "Hey,
black.
That's the Amazon factory. That'll get that done."
So that kind of
sister stuck with the black man too.
If the sisters are checking for those dudes, but these other women are checking for the dudes that are at the same job as those sisters, like white women are checking for, or non-black women are checking for dudes that aren't working at Amazon warehouse. Should the dude that's not working at Amazon warehouse go like try to compete with a dude that's working at Amazon warehouse, or should he deal with women that only date at his level? Not that he's any better than them.
You basically saying this nigga don't stand a chance because if I'm at the Amazon warehouse, like I don't gotta compete with this nigga, man.
No, I'm saying
with me.
A man that's confident and clean and attractive can get any woman at any level he wants. Trust. Like
what I'm saying is the things that are valued in I think other communities value the things that the men that don't work it. Amazon. Now look,
if she's susceptible to tricking, she can get got. But that's just that's
no,
period.
It's not just tricking. I'm talking about ambition. I think the qualities that get a person in jobs that aren't Amazon warehouse, like we're working in like engineering and stuff like that, those qualities are more attractive outside of our community, unfortunately. Because
what are those qualities? Tell me what those qualities are.
I'm speaking on relationship dynamics. Never mind.
Tell me what are those qualities that are so different between, say, a warehouse worker and an engineer? I'd love to hear the differences.
There's no difference. I just almost got caught.
A warehouse worker can be just as ambitious, but he might.
I just want to know the difference between a warehouse worker and an engineer. You just said there's a big difference in the nigga's quality. So pause. Like, what's the difference?
I think if you're a black man in corporate America, and then you have all these different races of women like trying to get with you, but the woman that the high earning black woman would prefer the warehouse worker, then I think you should go and then.
But that's statistically not what's happening though. Those college educated black dudes is getting married to college educated black women. Like that's what the statistics say. Like
statistically, that number's on the decline though. But yeah, you're right.
Then because there's a disproportionality now over the last
we got felonies.
Maybe since there's over the last 30 years that so many more black women have been going to college than black men. Like if they want to get married, they just can't say I'm going to marry only college educated black men. So I like a lot of the stereotypes we got about like black women, because in society, education is considered a quality that people look, for, right? So if we say black women won't date down, but obviously if we, by today's standard, if I got a college degree and somebody don't got a college degree, that is dating down. But black women do that like all the time because there's simply not enough black men who go to college. And that's not like, I don't think we should be valuing black men worth off whether they work in Amazon or work at corporate America, because I could be ruthless and nasty and be rich. Like that's like, those are typically the richest people in our society. The people who are willing to be the most ruthless, narcissistic, and psychopathic. So like, just basing stuff off people's success is not always. I'm not even gonna say not always. It's not even an indicator of the type of character that they have at all. Like, that's
not what I'm saying, bro. I'm saying that a lot of times what I hear a lot of brothers in the stems and stuff like that, they're a little nerdy. They don't got a lot of swag. A lot of times the sis is not checking for them the same way a lot of these other women are. That's all I'm saying.
But they still marrying black women at a disproportionate rate. And I'm gonna be And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, we can't say, like, I don't know if Trey don't recognize that there's like an opposite side of this where we don't check for the nerdy black girls either.
Yes, we do. That's cat.
Trey,
if she's pretty and nerdy.
No.
You started putting words on
it. We're not adding no quantifiers. We talking about the stereotypical nerdy black girl that went to your school. We were not checking for them.
Trey just want the baddies. Tell him, Trey, you just want the baddies, bro.
Come on, we ain't gotta lie. We men here. Nobody like your flesh don't start.
You probably got all them same qualities you want too, Trey.
Your flesh don't go for mental. Your flesh go for ass, titties. Like, we know what jumped first off the screen. Like, that's what we go for. And then we upset.
I agree, TBI.
But
Steve, why are non-black women checking for these men then?
I'm gonna be honest with you. This idea that y'all have that white women don't go after, because white men are having this same conversation about that 10% of white women or 80% of white women want only 10% of white men. So like, this conversation that that's
not the conversation I'm saying, man.
But that's what you're essentially saying.
No, because you're saying that they don't get no girls. I'm saying the girls that actively pursue them are not black. I'm not saying they can't get black women. I'm saying they have to push the women out the way who aren't black and go pursue a woman that's checking for swag versus the women that are checking for his future.
This is typically what's happening. And let's be honest here. Let's call a spade a spade. You talking about some nerdy black dude, right? And I guarantee you.
No, I'm not talking about a nerdy black dude. I'm talking about a dude who don't got swag like that.
Nigga, that's nerdy. What are you talking about? You said an engineer without no. Hold on. See, he a STEM engineer nigga with no swag. That's not a. This how you like to get away with stuff. This how you like, because that describes a nerdy nigga.
He should go get with another nerdy black girl and stop getting caught up on. Because I'm telling you what it is. He think because he has hit every marker of what we consider to be quote unquote successful, that he should just be able to get fine shit off rip.
That's not what I'm saying. You misunderstanding everything I'm saying, bro.
Are they getting with nerdy black girls? Why they not getting with nerdy black girls?
He's going for the women who are pursuing him. Why can't the black women pursue him? And then, if they're not pursuing them, then don't get mad if he goes to the people who.
But no black women, or just not the baddies, are pursuing him.
Exactly.
But that doesn't matter, bro. Because at the end of the day, he's going to go after the most attractive person. Why don't the most attractive black women pursue him?
Trey, man, you getting sidetracked, but I feel like you always trying to shoehorn in here every conversation in the last couple episodes on the reasons why we should go mess with white women. And I'm not saying the reason.
No, I'm not saying the reason why we should. I'm saying the reason why people do. It's happening whether I'm on here talking about it or not. But if I mention it, Trey loves white women. Okay, y'all going to see this is the first generation of black men who have options. And if the people that are pursuing them, they finally have the option to pursue them.
Don't disrespect OG Fred like that now.
Come on, man.
Nah,
He
He
it's
laid the
first-
groundwork for you to have these like. Come on now.
Okay,
I mean, you
GG,
say that.
stigma,
You say that.
hey, stigma free. I got that
Like
book too.
it's easy to
I got
say.
that book. I also got the Daughters of the Trade.
I mean, we say
You know about that
like,
one?
but black people have a stronger intraracial desire than other racial groups. Like we like, as much as people try to say that black women, because a lot of the gender war stuff I feel like is typically social media inflamed. Because when I'm around black people in just like real life, like I never like hear this like type of conversations. Like I never hear this shit like in real life.
But
Like,
you've been married a long time though, right?
I work for a living. Like I've been like, you don't think I'm around black people at
Well,
work?
I'm saying it's always dudes that's been married for a long time trying to tell people that's single about their lived reality. And it's like, bro, I understand you made decisions based on whatever was happening then at the time. But if you took around a bunch of single dudes and you see that they're being pursued by non-black women, like they don't dislike black women.
All my friends
They
is
don't
college
dislike them.
educated, got married after me, and all of them are with black women.
Hey, maybe
I'm
they're
not
not in
saying
black
that-
spaces. Maybe that's why they're not getting pursued. They're not around black women. Is that
A lot
fair
of
to say?
a lot of productive black men don't be in black spaces.
Like, do you think nerdy
Oh
black
damn!
dudes?
Wait, what does that mean? Productive black men aren't going to be in black
I said-
spaces. What does
I
that? What
said
does
a
that
lot
mean
of
about?
them.
But
I said a lot of them. because
but
of
why-
racism.
why
that
not?
answers
Like,
the
what-
question. That's why ain't no black woman. Like, if ain't no black woman there, then what? Like,
Yeah, but also,
But-
how do
hear me
you
out.
how do you
But the
look at
black
black
women
spaces?
there-
Why wouldn't
the
productive
black
black
women-
men be in black spaces?
Because we live in a world where you're not going to be confined to like neighborhoods that are completely
what does
segregated.
that have to do with like
A
neighborhoods?
lot of people live in worlds. There are Asian here, there's Indians here, there's black people, and there's white people. So you're saying black men shouldn't live there?
That's not
Like,
what I said at all. If we're talking about dating and like where you find and meet and get pursued at,
But hear me-
there's
hear me
like
out, though.
different black spaces that you can go to in which there's a bunch of black people and they're having a great time. And it just a random example would be like
Of course they are. I've seen
Sukasa
those places.
on what that used to be like the third Wednesday, I mean, Saturday or something like that, where you go in there and it's gonna be nothing but black women.
They got
majority
Mad
black
Miles.
women. Oh yeah, Mad Miles. This is another great
Mad
spot
Miles.
where it's majority and what you would love. Like these are fit, but working out black women and men, all productive, successful.
Body count's probably too high, Q.
But my main point is that like these aren't like, and that's what it seemed like you were saying when you were saying like black spaces. These have to be subjugated to like hood shit or the club or something like that. It's mad black spaces that you can find and meet like really legit black women.
You got to put yourself around black women.
The black women in these integrated communities aren't checking for black men first. They're checking for other dudes too. And if they are checking for black men, it's not just black men. Nah, man. So black women can be in these spaces and do whatever they want, but black men, shame on you for doing. Never mind. Yeah, that's the rule. I forgot. My bad. It's a guy knocks.
I don't think they should do it either.
I agree.
They don't have a bunch of people on their net.
Right. But why would you follow what women do?
For returning fire.
That is actually being like a gynocrat if you're following what the women are doing.
I think one-sided loyalty and obedience without expecting the same obedience in return is more of a gynocratic principle than,
And so because of that, you won't go to black spaces.
I go to black spaces, but this isn't about me personally. I'm talking about a lot. There's black men who are being pursued by non-black women who think they have plenty of swag.
In majority non-black spaces. Like you have to add that part in then. Like so they're mainly around other people of other ethnicities.
Yeah. So it sounds like these niggas are getting chose versus choosing and it's just like that's not a good position to be in, Pause. You definitely don't want to be the one where she's choosing you.
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you why white women doing that because she see you as a sucker. That's why. Like,
that's not.
I don't get
some
why
of them
y'all
really just genuinely feeling the dudes. I'm not gonna seem like every white girl that thinks that black dude's attractive just thinks he's a sucker.
But does the black dude define? But it's like that's the thing about I get what you're saying, but that's the thing. It's like as a dude, yeah, these women might be pursuing me, but like I can't get down with that rule that like I like who like me. Nah, fuck that. Like,
but the thing is,
Right
it's
back,
not just
Johnny.
like one white girl. It'd be like a bunch of white women.
but
Be
do I
like
like
white
them?
women.
Are they the types that I want, or do I just say like, damn, I got a bunch of pussy thrown at me. I'm about to fall into something. Like, which one is it? Is my question.
Bro, if they are competing for you,
If you just
like
want to fall in
trying
some
to win
pussy,
you
I get
over,
it. If you just doing it to
it's
fall
not
in some
just-
pussy,
it's
I get
not-
it.
It's not just for the pussy. They be
Man,
like
Trey
trying
done
to,
got
like,
slobbed up by one of these
Hey.
white girls. They got him
Nah, man.
twisted out here.
Nah. I personally got a lovely sister that I rock with, and she, that's who I rock with. But I do see a problem out here with a lot of my homies who, like, I had a homie. He was out. He said, he was just talking about the situation. He said, "Ooh, white beaches," and then this white girl's like, "You say white bitch?" He wasn't even talking to her. Like, they just really just be.
This one of your white
I don't
homies?
think he wanted. Nah, he black. He light skinned though.
He just
But he
said
black.
white beaches out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Like
he was.
white beaches.
He was
St.
drinking like
Martin.
a
And
Corona or
it just
something.
so happened to be a black woman walking by and heard that. And
No. It was a white woman. He was drinking the Corona. I put the story up. He was drinking the Corona. And somebody talked about the beach or some shit. Like, he was just joking around, talking about painting a scene. And he said white beaches. And then Becky leaned up talking about, did you say white bitches?
I
Like,
mean, in her defense, it do
was he
kind of
pursuing
sound
her?
like white bitches.
So you saying so?
And
What?
then-
So
what
you,
does this story mean, though?
yeah,
Like, was
are you
she
saying
angry
I'm
Becky?
saying, like, they be drowning. These niggas be drowning in the snow, bro. And you be making it be on their neck, bro. They would much rather be drowning in chocolate. And
So
there are
you
black
saying
women around,
you saying
but they don't
that
come
women
up.
to be
They
called
don't
white
see them.
bitches? You saying she said it like as an endearment? Like, were you talking to me? Like, or
Yes, yes.
So she
And that's what they
how-
want. But and that's what they
He
want.
dragged us
she was like, "Did you say white bitches?
right here.
This is a crazy
Yeah,
story.
bro. That's
You
what I'm
rang?"
saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, these dudes don't be out there like, "Ooh, I need a Becky." Becky be there. Becky be choosing. And then
That
we
seems
want to
like
get
to
married
me
to
like that.
brothers.
That seems too thirsty
Becky
for my
be
liking.
choosing.
If
It's not
Becky,
just Becky though.
Bro.
if Becky was
Becky,
choosing off of you
Lily,
just saying white beaches, that
bro,
sound like she trying to like
that's because you're a black
Yeah.
man. You're not
Kinda
used
Jada
to.
Waiter,
Never
yeah.
mind. Certain
Yeah,
black.
yeah,
And he's not
something.
even like. He's not even like crazy swaggy, and he like the sisters. Because if I comment on the gynocracy or clown him,
why you
about
keep
that,
emphasizing swaggy to get a sister, bro? I know corny niggas with sisters, bro. Like you,
Had
and
one,
like,
too.
and like I know niggas that's like not swaggy at all, and
Watch
they
anime and
they
shit,
with
you like,
pretty
damn.
fit black women. I'm talking about fit, feminine black women, and these niggas are like,
and friendly.
they ain't friendly though.
they not like, I don't want to call them cornballs, but they just like, they stand up regular niggas, man. They got regular
I believe
jobs.
that
They
exists.
go Jordans.
I believe it,
They
man.
don't listen to rap. Like, they just regular niggas, man. Like,
Gee, I believe it is this, but I'm saying these dudes, we need to quit painting the picture like these dudes are like looking to play in the snow. Like, Becky be choosing, bro. And then if that's his day, he out, he just chilling, and Becky trying to choose, and then it's not even like the same Becky. It be different Becky.
Snow
And
just
I
fall,
think
man.
we need to
Snow just fall.
snow just fall, bro. So we need to stop trying to tell black men to move out the snow that's falling on them, and then tell them how to move when it's in the snow. Don't forget you black.
So-
Yeah, Trey, you off cold, man. You off cold.
That
Bro.
ain't off code, bro.
Nah, you off cold, man. Like I just don't.
Nah.
You feel me?
And just wondering, Trey, like, do you hold that same thing for like the black women? Like, if it's just snow falling all around her, you can't blame her.
But that's part of what woke me up to this when I realized they've been playing in the snow the whole time.
So is that
Like, all these
yes?
black, bro.
But
all
the
these black
answer is
feminists have
yes.
white
That
husbands.
it's okay. It is okay that they do it, right?
Now that they want
Because it's
protection.
like falling all around them, and they can't help
Right,
it.
chill.
Like it
Not
just
if-
be
not
it
if
just
they-
be falling.
Not if they want protection.
so
Like,
Trey,
he's gonna be
Trey,
with a white man. That's where
you-
protection to be at.
you was
That
on
makes
the
sense.
part-
Then she
Hey,
can do
Trey,
what she wants.
So
Trey,
then you're cool with it then. Black
As long
women
as she-
like
I am
that's a
until-
fair excuse because it's snow falling.
I'm cool until she be out here talking about black women unprotected. Then I'm
Hey,
gonna be
Trey.
like, well, come on.
you in South in Charlotte, and you see a Brad with a Keisha, and y'all are like 2 cars separated, but y'all outside about to walk by each other, and all of a sudden you see Brad like literally give Keisha like a bitch bow, like a just a quick correction slap, which I don't know if you agree or disagree with, but you see the correction slap. Do you intervene, or does she not deserve your protection at that moment?
I'm not in it.
Just mind your business and keep it moving.
Yeah, her preference, like they say to us, that's her preference.
Word. Would you call somebody?
If she was, I wouldn't let her get killed or nothing, but I ain't trying to like be a witness or for like a simple GV that she's gonna go back to anyway. So nah, that's none of my business.
All right, word.
But to be fair, if she was black and the dude was black, I probably wouldn't snitch either, because like I seen dudes get off besides that, and then they end up going to the same dude. And it's like my family want me to come back to them. They don't want, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not worth me risking my life to intervene in the lover's quarrel that she's going to go back to anyway.
So generally, you wouldn't be protecting black women, though. That's kind of what that sounds like you're saying.
I protect by trying preventative measures. But if I say, look over there,
proactive,
and then you ignore what's happening, and then you like, nah,
but like a woman that's not yours. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, generally speaking, black women.
I protect by warning them. That's it. I ain't.
Hey, the nigga about to smack you. Yeah, that's
I'll be like, duck, baby.
I got you. Steve, you was about to say something, Steve. My bad, bro.
Hey man, he did sidetracked. We off topic, man. He went down a rabbit hole to defend Daisy Snow Bunnies. Nobody even asked him to defend this.
That's what white women do.
Nobody even asked him to defend this.
This nigga said they unresistible. How can you blame him?
That is literally the point that he made. It's crazy.
He said, how can you blame a nigga one after another? It's unresistible.
They storming the gates, bro.
I'm like, bro, if you in North Carolina, you can't run into no black women.
It's some bad ones too.
That's something wrong with you.
I did not say that. All I said is we are demonizing these dudes who are under like a brute force
heavy attack.
Yeah, hey, like we gonna get
the funniest.
Like, bro, he gonna take the cookies that's thrown at him, bro. Like, and you gonna be mad at him? He would prefer a sister be the one. If he found the right sister, he would want to marry a sister.
Go where sisters is at. That's not even hard.
Or I mean,
like in like South,
but there are sisters
in Camp North End. That's like a 7-minute drive. It's not even even that long.
But Q, there are plenty of sisters here around us. They just not choosing up on. I mean, they choose up on the brothers, but they choose up on Brads too.
Oh man.
It's a hell of a predicament, bro.
Hey, man, I don't know what to say about that. I mean,
but all y'all hear is Trey love white women. It's like, bro, nah, man.
No. I hear that white women are irresistible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If we can put
that's what I've learned today.
If we can put this on Prize Picks, I put money.
They're putting the money line on Trey. Oh shit.
But at the same time, you can't say they're irresistible if the dudes would prefer that they be sisters. It just so happens that
I can't have it both ways. Can't have it both ways. You said when the snow is falling, you just can't help it. So
can't help it.
They be like looking at the sisters for help. The sisters be like, "Nah, you good?" And they be like, "Oh damn, I guess I'll suffer in silence over here in the snow."
They might feel like how you feel about when black
women
date white men.
Actually, when he messes with the Hinge app, one of my homies will use that as an example. He only picks Hispanic and black women. He don't pick no white women. But that's the only time he mess with white women is when is when he got to use dating apps to get with sisters. But he specifically says no white women on the dating app. Does that mean he loves white women?
I feel like Trey be saying his homie, but he really talking about himself, man.
Of course. we all been on that one.
My homie. We got a lot of homies.
Yeah,
he got a homie for every situation.
Like,
God damn.
And I know my homie dating profile. Why would you know his dating profile?
I know he's not talking about none of y'all, so he got other friends beyond y'all. He got a lot of friends.
Nigga, we be talking about this shit. We like if you like 4 or 5 black people out of a bigger group in South End, because I had another homie, he was gonna go to Minnesota with his Becky. I was like, bro, don't do that, dog. Like, turn your location on, bro. And that's why I do a public service out here for the FBA community, warning these brothers about when if they're gonna move that way, you gotta move a certain way.
Becky was about to take one of these niggas to Minnesota with her.
Yeah, she wanted him to come to Minnesota and meet the family.
Oh Lord, and he was contemplating it too, huh?
Nah, he went, bro.
Oh damn!
Did he make it back?
He made it back, bro.
These homies sound like the sellouts and the bootlickers he be talking about.
Yeah, man. I gotta say, man, I don't know.
I mean, they don't just because that doesn't make you a sellout just because you smash a Becky. Like Thomas Jefferson.
But you can be a guy. You can be a victim of the white woman's gynocracy. That's just more palatable.
That's not. I don't even understand that question because plenty of white supremacists were messing with. Like he was messing with Alice Hemings and her sister and sharing that with his brother. And then still having black people in slavery. You're talking about white supremacy. This whole
Alice
thing
Hemings
you're talking about.
Slave. Alice Hemings was.
But he
slave.
was.
Are you a white slave master, man?
It's just an example of a person can.
It's just not
a person can have sex with a person, and then
like think about this, Trey. Like just think about this for real. Think about this for real.
A man can.
How like if black women were aggressively pursuing a nigga, that would not be like pointed at as like a compliment. It would be like, man, these bitches is thirsty, aggressive, way too
that shit
in my
masculine.
face. They don't know how to fall back, be feminine, get chose. So it's like, why is it that when the black woman is sitting in her feminine, waiting for that masculine black man to come and choose her, she has to get intercepted by this aggressive masculine approach that the other women are using? And it's like, why is that now all of a sudden something we want to compliment when in reality we don't want that from our women? That's not applaudable behavior. Like we don't want women choosing us. Or maybe I'm lost. Maybe I'm lost on that. Maybe is that how your homies like to roll?
No, there lies the problem with it. I think that this generation is one of the first ones where it's not taboo for Becky's to be acting like that. So now they're starting to actually compete, whereas our sisters, they never had to. So now they're gonna.
You're not addressing what he's saying at all.
No, but I'm telling you.
But if they're approaching men, do you agree that women hollering at men is masculine and aggressive?
No, not really. Depends on how they do it.
So you would be okay with black women hollering at men, and that be the main approach?
If they come around and then just like make themselves available and like smile and it's like saying hey, just being friendly, then I think that's different than her like walking up, putting her hand out, and then I grab it and she like tried to pull me away. Like that would be a red flag. But
so because a white woman came around and was friendly, she threw herself at a nigga.
Because you said it thrown.
Did she start like asking like flirty like questions and stuff like that, or asking questions she know the answer to? She's just clearly trying to make conversation about it. You can tell when somebody flirting, but they're not out there like, oh, let's get out of here. I didn't mean to make it sound like that. No, it's not like that at all. But they're just like, they're showing choosing signals constantly.
We just gonna have to pray for Trey, man.
This ain't me, man. It's my homie, bro.
Okay,
I'm
your
good.
homie. We're gonna pray for your homie, man.
Yeah,
Pray,
shout out to this. Shout out to my lady. She listen.
Hey, look, man. Hey, look. I'm not gonna knock black women for not being in niggas' face and having some selectivity.
But they be in
to
niggas'
her.
face, just not. They be in niggas' faces, just not the
They be in
niggas that.
own face.
Just not your face, right? Or not, excuse me, your boy face.
They be in niggas' face, bro. We're not gonna act like black women don't know how to choose when they want to, bro. Come on now, don't gaslight me like that.
This is what you said, though. You said they not choosing.
They're not choosing these niggas in South End.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm echoing what you said.
I mean, these women are choosing dudes. They're just not choosing these eligible men who are, they work out. You know what I'm saying? They funny. You know what I'm saying? They got good jobs. They got aspirations. They on the way. You know what I'm saying? Straight up dudes. And it seems like the ones choosing on them are not the sisters around us. It's the other ones. And I think if it was the other way around, and if a black woman had the same argument talking about the men, they aren't choosing on us. Say the men, they can come up with all kinds of ways to disqualify men. And if the white men are doing the right thing, then they would have no problem saying.
Hey Trey, I got a question. So are these bad white women that's choosing? So the white woman baddies is just choosing on nerdy black dudes.
They can't be them Charlotte 8s at all. They got to be below the line. Below the line.
It varies. It varies. I think the ones that are more aggressive
adjustable 6 at best.
The ones that are
those are dudes.
So in essence, it's a bunch of mid white women that's hollering at these guys and they can't resist them.
Bunch of middies.
But let's be real, bro. The average female is pretty mid now. They like average looking women. They're not attractive. They're not fat.
They're not attractive, but they're not fat.
They're not unattractive. My bad. But none of them are fat. Like they're all fit women, and then none of them are like offensively ugly.
So basically, if a bitch is skinny, all things can go.
Is she? If a female, if a female is fit, friendly, and feminine, they'll take her a long way. Especially if she's very has a good but
making sure. So you're saying that sweet. You and your friends, or maybe just your friends, can't resist. Bro. All right, so not you, but your friends,
skinny middies.
Like they can't resist. Mid.
No fat girl.
You can't resist the skinny middies.
Skinny mid white women, and those are also the one that's choosing these guys consistently.
Not the skinny middies.
I mean, I said there's a variety. Some of them are mid, but not all of them are mid. Some of them are attractive. Some of them are like, get away from me. I had a heavy set black woman who my white friend, all he did was say like one bar he was at, and then she showed up, didn't even tell him, and he was like running for his life the whole time. That shit was so embarrassing for me as a black man, having this black woman like be so thirsty for him. And that's the type of stuff I see all the time over here. So it's hard for me to tell my homie over here getting inundated with choosing Becky's to when I see this over here, my white friend getting chose up on by sisters and tell him, nah, don't mess with her, leave her alone. It's like, bro, that's not fair. It's not realistic.
Okay. All right. Steve, I'd love for you to actually give us your take of the Black Boule. Now we've sidetracked long enough.
Hey man,
I do blame you because you were talking about saying them white women and it triggered him. It triggered him and we couldn't stop it.
Yeah, I had to explain myself. I hope y'all understand a little better now, bro. These dudes not choosing Becky's. Becky be choosing them. You just trying to tell them how to stiff arm. Don't tell them how to tell them play defense. They're not playing offense.
Yeah, they can't resist the white skinny midi.
Who they wish were black.
I do want to hit on a point about the talented 10th because it is a concept created by Du Bois, but you got to understand the context of the time. Du Bois went to Harvard, and eugenics was, that was the flavor of the time. Eugenics wasn't just something like only white folk kind of believed in. Black folks who was a part of the academia, believed in it too, because that's just what everybody was studying. So the talented tenth is, a concept that's kind of steeped in that. But even Du Bois comes to realize like the failings of that quote unquote class, position, or thinking that class could genuinely lead the masses. And I think a lot of people hit on it tonight. It's like, because when you get to that point, you eventually get to a inflection point where you got to decide: do I pursue personal economic, achievement, or for the greater good or whatever, do I take an economic hit and advocate for the masses? And I think that's like a thing a lot of Black people run into. So it's easy for us to say, for example, people will say, housing should be affordable. Everybody should be able to afford housing. But then when rubber meets the road and you ask those Black people who own houses, do you want to build an extra, 100 houses in your neighborhood? It's no, because they understand the negative impact that would have on their personal, housing. So it's like, it's stuff like that you always run into when it start, when it's like, oh yeah, they advocating for us. But the moment that advocation run into the point where it's going to affect their bottom line, typically nobody's that committed to it like they say.
Right. And that goes to, I guess, and I'll toss this question to you, to that whole idea of, do the Black elite and the populace have opposing goals?
I said originally in the comments, yes, they do, because the elite benefit from the status quo. Like they don't have the same stimulus or motivation to want to change the system. I own a house, I went to college, I make a pretty good salary, I got a family. What's the incentive for them? The incentive for them would have to be, they want to see the upliftment of the whole race. But I don't think people say it because it sounds good, but they're not really committed to that in like action. Because of like the housing is the perfect example. If I told you we need to build an extra 1,000 houses in your neighborhood, nobody would agree to that, because we understand what that would do to the value of my house that I own. Like that's the type of commitment you would need from like the quote unquote elite for them to take an economic hit for the benefit of the masses. And, it's just, even when people bring up the NOI and Malcolm X, that's what the contention was between those groups. The NOI, they said, hey, Malcolm, we cool with you going so far, but if you go to the point where you start to criticize the war movement or start to talk about this economic stuff, that's it. You're going to cause more problems to the NOI, because the NOI made a lot of money. The NOI was making a lot of money during that time. And they didn't want any type of government, because it was a target on Malcolm X back, to come in and interrupt that economic flow.
Oh yeah, the chicken came home to roost. That, like, all that shit.
Yeah, they didn't want that. Yeah. So even those groups, the people you get after X and King, are allowed to come after X and King because they not really the threats that we like act like they are. But
I agree with some of that, but I'll say a little pushback is like, you got people that's born elite and then some that become elite. And the thing is, yeah, they might benefit in certain ways from the status quo, but they also think that proximity to whiteness, to wealth, gives them certain privileges until they get around whiteness and wealth, and they're reminded of their Blackness too. So a lot of them get in them circles, and now they can't get into certain country clubs. They can't. They get in racism in certain neighborhoods. They still getting called boy, and they realize like, I'm not free till we all free. So some of them do start to realize like, I gotta help all of us too. So it is some that don't, and they turn their back on us. But I think some of them realize no matter how high that they got, that they were always constantly reminded that they're Black in one way or the other, and they did help us, in a lot of ways.
Well, of course, I can't say all, and I do think there's different periods of time where the black elite were better. Like, I think the black elite of the 60s was a better black elite than today. Or I think the black elite,
man, they were doing paper bag tests and shit back then.
even if they were, it still was some understanding of I can't be free unless everybody free. Like Martin Luther King, for example, the Poor People's Campaign. Martin Luther King, like, I mean, he's a Harvard graduate. Like, this dude can make money if he wanted to. If Martin Luther King wanted to make money, he didn't have to be a civil rights leader. But he took his education and he used it for something bigger than himself. Because a lot of people went to Harvard and said, I'm just gonna make money.
I thought he went to Morehouse, but what I don't know.
I thought his PhD was at Boston University or some shit like that.
I thought he went to Livingstone. You talking about MLK?
Yeah, he went to Morehouse.
That's hilarious.
You went to some seminary. But I heard he got kind of picked up early on.
Morehouse in Boston.
Well, I guess it said that he was a special student between 1952 and 1953.
He went to Morehouse at 15 years old.
Attending as a special student ain't the same as like going.
But that was significant at the time.
1952.
Like a person like that could.
I didn't know that.
He didn't need to. Martin Luther King could have sold out. This a dude who went to Morehouse, Boston University, and then was allowed to come to Harvard in a special status because of how significant of a person he was.
Yo, Steve, do you think there's any possibility he might have been a plant man?
No.
Oh, hell no, man.
No. I mean, this, like...
here we go.
Like,
I can't believe you questioned FBA great like MLK like that.
Literally.
A man like that.
Literally.
When we said MLK was fucking all them women, Trey
he was trying to put the coon on niggas.
Oh my god,
he's trying to soft shoe you. He was gonna throw it all at niggas.
Can't believe
you don't see the difference between
that nigga might have been a sellout.
You don't see the difference between what I just asked versus what you did, though, do you? Because when I say is he a plant, I'm looking at the fact.
Like, you gotta ask
I'm not gossiping about like his sexual escapades or whatever. I'm talking about
that literally is gossip.
No. You're talking about.
Do you have a fact of him being a plant? If not, you're gossiping about. You have no
facts. I'm gonna ask you a question.
Hey, yo, Q. No, Steve. Let me respond to this real quick. You're talking. I think beauty salon talk is when you talk about who a man's having sex with. When I'm talking about being a plant, I'm like he was picked up at 15. He had a bunch of.
So you're talking about gossiping or beauty salon talk? You just use the word gossip.
Bro, because if you're over here joking about him having sex with whoever, I think that's kind of like very like surface level. I'm talking about, did he get co-opted by these speech writers who ended up getting him advocating for Israel, advocating for Jewish people?
Cool. So just making sure though, you're saying like, that I'm
not talking about.
You're saying that like making a joke about if he had, like somebody had sex with somebody outside his wife, right?
You weren't joking. You weren't joking. Y'all said that he dead up.
Or if he, I think that it's common knowledge almost that he did, but that's worse than saying that. Hold on, but cool. Let me just land my point. But you're saying that that's worse than literally questioning his character and saying that he was a sellout plant that was planted inside the community for whatever reason. Like if you're saying, do you think that he was a plant? So. Okay, what would you be saying? What would you like? So saying, do you think that he's a plant? Is that a negative or a positive statement?
I'm saying he may not have known he was a plant. If you don't know he's a plant, then how is that a reflection of his character? Q.
All right.
If he's being used for a purpose, like if he's getting co-opted by another group of people to quell another movement, and he don't even know it, he thinks he's doing a good thing, then how am I attacking his character, Q? I think we're dealing with people who are very powerful. It's not
I don't think that's a plant. I don't think that's the same as a plant. That's
what I'm saying. You're gossiping about something that has no basis in truth.
So
I think talking about if a person is a plant and looking at it strategically about how it could benefit them to do that is not the same as gossiping about his sex life.
That's literally gossiping and saying that he didn't actually rise to power genuinely and organically. Like you're questioning if he actually if he actually was somebody that rose to power organically. That's questioning who he is and what he did. What else is it? That's gossiping as well, because of you have no basis of it. Maybe you do. Do you have a basis of it? If not, you're questioning who he is and how he got what he got. That's gossiping.
So if I'm thinking about this militaristically, like trying to be strategic, like trying to be very militant about this, and I see that there's a person that has speech writers from a community who's done us harm for a long time. I know his heart is in the right place. So for me to consider or question or put clues together to see maybe are they trying to use this guy against us? That's gossip. Me just proposing that thought experiment. That's the same thing as me saying that, oh, he messed with white women, right? You don't see that those two like positions
you said that, a lot more. You said that he's a plant. Like, do you think that he's a plant?
There's a conspiracy about
that literally. Literally, like nobody ever uses a plant inside a positive way.
Okay,
you said plant. I didn't introduce that.
We just established that my definition of plant is different than yours. Okay.
All right, and so your definition of plant means that he was unwittingly, like just shoot through life and was giving access and opportunity that he didn't actually earn.
Did I say he was shoot through life? Did I say he was shoot through life?
What, like, so did he earn it or was he planted? And they gave it to him. Like, it's one of the other. Like, being a plant at some place has to mean that the powers that be gave you access and you didn't earn it. That's what a plant.
That's not what it means. Because a person can have their heart in the right place and do their best to do the right thing. But if there are people that have nefarious aims that are around them to try to push them in the wrong direction, do I say that he got shooed in? No, he went there and earned and did what he had to take to get there. But he didn't know that they were trying to manipulate what he was doing on the back. And I think if you're not mindful of the possibility that the people you're working with who are from other groups could be using you for their own aims, then I think you're being very foolish, bro. Respectfully.
So let's make it very plain, because I know what I get with Trey. You talking about the Jewish question around Martin Luther King. Am I correct?
Yeah, they wrote his speeches and they got him talk about Israel. Like, they used him for their own purposes off of our back, like they always do.
So one thing, first of all, context I'll say this, context matters. So the current state of Israel that we have today was not the state of Israel in 1967. And also we need to be cognizant. Like, I'm anti-Zionist. I don't believe in what they're doing, but we need to be cognizant that Zionism is very prevalent in the Black church. Like, the whole belief system, or a fundamental piece of the belief system, is in order for God to come back, is that Israel has to be made whole. So we have to give some type of grace.
Not really.
That's scripture. Like, that is scripture.
It says that Israel will not be made whole until God comes back. Because there's
I think the general point is there is a significant Black Christian population that interprets the scripture in that way.
They interpret the scripture that way.
I got you.
So Israel is significant to a lot of people. Of course, we got to do that education around that and all that. But Martin Luther King doesn't get to live to see Israel become apartheid state, right? And the number 2 point, the Jewish question, the issue and why whites don't like the Jews is because they claim that the Jews were communists who was trying to subvert the United States of America to overthrow it. Like, when we talk about this stuff, we need to talk about it in its full context and what they were proclaiming the Jews to be. They were and some of this might be true. Martin Luther King.
That's a great point, Steve.
Martin Luther King does have communistic and socialistic beliefs. Malcolm X does too. So does a lot of these black people that, quite frankly, that people say that they love. They all have these type of beliefs. The Black Panthers is literally a Maoist party. And so,
Steve, you making up you got a bunch of good points. All I'm saying is knowing that we could be manipulated in that way because we have a propensity with our religion.
I think people misunderstand the relationship between these two groups during the civil rights movement. A lot of the early civil rights stuff was funded or defended, whether it was anti-segregation laws in the South, whether it was the faulty trials in the South where they was trying to lock up black men. A lot of them lawyers were Jewish. Like, we run from this fact. This is just, and we can't always assume people are doing stuff just because they trying to, work on some greater angle later. Because
we can't assume that they're not either. We gotta consider.
But it don't matter because it ended up with the point of us moving beyond Jim Crow. So we can talk about what could have happened, but what did happen was we moved beyond Jim Crow. That relationship helped you move beyond Jim Crow. Now in 2025, we should be critical of that relationship because it's a whole different dynamic and it's a whole different act. They asking our black politicians to do a whole different ask now. Like, we should be able to look at these.
But Steve, you don't think there's any way that they might have seen where we're at today? They might have foreseen this situation and they wanted to build a rapport knowing that they would need us in the future. They saw the way that things are turning, and instead of, they wanted us shopping at their stores versus having our own community. Like, everything that happened from the civil rights movement, like, we shouldn't even consider that any of this is orchestrated. That's just gossip.
But I think and I'm gonna be honest about it. I think like Anglo-Saxon Protestant whites, they let this Jewish conspiracy float around so much and have so much legs because it obfuscates and deviates from the role that they have actually played, and we can actually prove that they have played in our oppression. So if we have this shadowy figure of the Jew, we always chasing that instead of chasing these white folk that we know actually committed these crimes.
Oh, no. Of course we should. They're both white supremacists, both sides. But I do think that Jewish people hop in and out of white, and it's like they benefit from. They're like white when convenient. They're always white, but then when they don't want to be there, then they claim their ethnic group, and then they able to use that to, with black people with our background, Christianity, get us to support their causes, and then jump right back on the Ben Shapiro side, making us look bad. So it's like they're playing. If I'm noticing that maybe they're playing both sides, I don't think that's the same as like gossiping about his sex life. That's just like putting together a bunch of facts and then trying to.
Yeah, you just softened that all the way up, boy. That's crazy.
Like,
hey, Steve, hold on. Let me close out the show and then we can kind of continue the conversation. You cool. All right. So nonetheless, this has been a fun, interesting, sidebar heavy, but really intriguing, unpacked episode. Again, we talked a little bit about Talented 10th Boule, Black progress, Black populism, Black elitism, and just kind of how they all intersect. And yeah, with that said, this has been Unpacked, presented to you by the To Be Fair Show, the G-ish podcast. I am Q, that is G, FBA Trey, Johnny, A Black just signed off on us, and amazing commentary from the well-read, knowledgeable Steve. And like that, we out.